TV. Revolutionary salute. Revolutionary salute. Like, share, subscribe. Welcome, welcome, welcome to the House of Revolution. You know I'm your humble host, the Yao Mean of Revolution, and all eyes on the most powerful brother on this planet. Before we get into that, be sure to wipe your feet. That means hit the like button. Like, share, subscribe, support the platform. Yeah, well, Revolution is in the app. It's all over the globe, and this is the most powerful black man on the planet. The bootlegger should have never tried him. Salute, 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 Queen. Let's get right into the content today. This brother's being honored all over the planet. Tomorrow it's going to be a global protest and uprising for this brother. I will be covering it all over the place, but what's in the air cannot be contained and it can't be stopped. Y'all get ready because we next to get
Vietnam is a land of heroes. They defeated the French, they drove out the Americans, and they showed the world what it means to fight for freedom. President Ibrahim Traorè's voice rang with admiration as he spoke to his aides in a hurried meeting at the presidential palace in Ouagadougou, his red beret a symbol of his own defiance atop his camouflage uniform. It was the morning of April 29th, 2025, and Traoré had just received an invitation that filled his heart with pride. Vietnam had invited him to attend their 50th anniversary celebration of Reunification Day on April 30th, marking the liberation of South Vietnam and the end of the war against American imperialism. "I must go," Traoré declared, his eyes alight with determination. "To stand with Vietnam on this historic day is an honor. I will learn from their courage, and I will bring their wisdom back to Burkina Faso." The opening statement, charged with reverence, set the stage for a deeply emotional journey of solidarity, inspiration, and a leader's heartfelt promise to his people. The invitation had arrived just 2 days earlier, delivered by the Vietnamese ambassador to Burkina Faso during a quiet ceremony at the palace. Traoré, still recovering from the physical and emotional toll of recent events, surviving a cyanide poisoning attempt, losing 7 of his trusted guards, and leading a midnight mission to save the village of Corfey, had been in a reflective mood. He sat in his office, the walls adorned with maps of Burkina Faso and portraits of African revolutionaries, when the ambassador presented the letter, sealed with the emblem of Vietnam. The letter, written in both Vietnamese and French, extended a formal invitation from President Vo Van Thuong, inviting Traoré to join the celebrations in Ho Chi Minh City for the 50th anniversary of Reunification Day, a day that marked Vietnam's triumph over American forces and the reunification of the nation on April 30th, 1975. Traoré read the letter twice, his hands trembling slightly, not from weakness, but from the weight of the honor. Vietnam had long been a source of inspiration for him, a nation whose history of resistance against colonial and imperial powers mirrored Burkina Faso's own struggles. As a young soldier, Traoré had studied the Vietnamese struggle, reading about the Battle of Dien Bien Phu in 1954, where Vietnamese forces under General Vo Nguyen Giap defeated the French colonial army, a victory that shattered France's grip on Indochina. He had also devoured accounts of the Vietnam War, marveling at how a small, determined nation had withstood the might of the American military, enduring years of bombings, chemical warfare, and unimaginable hardship to secure their independence. To Traoré, Vietnam was not just a country, it was a symbol of what a united people could achieve, a beacon of hope for nations like Burkina Faso, still fighting to break free from the shadows of neo-colonialism. "I have always wanted to learn from Vietnam," Traoré told his aides, his voice thick with emotion. "They showed the world that no power, no matter how great, can defeat a people who fight for their freedom. They beat the French at Dien Bien Phu. I dream of Burkina Faso having our own Dien Bien Phu against those who exploit us. They drove out the Americans, and now they've built a nation of progress and pride. I must go to them, to honor their history, to learn from their resilience, and to bring their lessons back to our people. His aides nodded, their faces reflecting the same admiration Traoré felt, but they couldn't help but worry about his health. The recent poisoning had left him frail, his body still recovering from the toxin's effects, and the journey to Vietnam, a 20-hour flight with layovers, would be grueling. "Sir, you're still not fully recovered," said Colonel Diallo, Traoré's chief of security. "Perhaps we can send a representative in your place." Traoré shook his head, his gaze unwavering. "No," he said firmly. "This is a moment I must witness with my own eyes, for my people, for Burkina Faso. I will go, and I will return stronger." The decision was made, and preparations began immediately. Traoré's staff worked around the clock to arrange the trip, securing a military plane for the journey and coordinating with Vietnamese officials to ensure a warm welcome. Traoré, despite his physical weakness, insisted on overseeing every detail, from the gifts he would present to the Vietnamese leadership, a hand-woven Burkina Faso flag and a ceremonial sword symbolizing unity, to the speech he would deliver at the ceremony. He spent hours writing the speech by hand, his pen scratching across the paper as he poured his heart into every word, determined to honor Vietnam's history while reaffirming his commitment to Burkina Faso's own struggle. "Vietnam is a land of heroes," he wrote, his voice echoing in his mind as he shaped the words. "They have shown us the path to freedom, and I am humbled to walk in their footsteps on this sacred day." By the afternoon of April 29th, Traoré was ready to depart. He stood on the tarmac at Ouagadougou's international airport, his red beret tilted slightly to one side, his camouflage uniform a stark contrast to the formal red carpet laid out for his send-off. A military band, dressed in vibrant orange and green uniforms, played a stirring rendition of Burkina Faso's national anthem, Une seule nuit, as Traoré walked toward the plane, a Burkina Faso flag fluttering proudly beside him. Soldiers in ceremonial attire saluted, their faces a mix of pride and concern as they watched their leader, still pale from his recent ordeal, board the aircraft. Traoré paused at the top of the stairs, turning to wave to the small crowd of officials and citizens who had gathered to see him off. "I go to Vietnam to honor a nation of heroes," he called out, his voice carried by the wind. "I will return with lessons to make Burkina Faso stronger. I promise you this." The crowd cheered, their voices a wave of support as the plane's engines roared to life. The flight to Vietnam was long and arduous, with a layover in Istanbul before continuing to Ho Chi Minh City. Traoré, seated in a small cabin aboard the military plane, spent much of the journey in quiet reflection, gazing out the window at the endless expanse of sky. His body ached, his chest still tight from the poisoning, his limbs heavy with exhaustion, but his mind was alive with thoughts of Vietnam. He thought of the stories his father had told him as a child, tales of African soldiers forced to fight for France in Indochina, only to witness the Vietnamese resistance firsthand. He thought of the Vietnamese people, their villages bombed, their forests poisoned with Agent Orange, yet their spirit unbroken. And he thought of Burkina Faso, a nation still grappling with French-backed rebels, foreign exploitation, and the weight of a colonial past. "Vietnam did it," he whispered to himself, his breath fogging the window. "They won their freedom, and so will we." The plane touched down in Ho Chi Minh City in the early hours of April 30th, just as the city was awakening to the festivities of Reunification Day. Traoré stepped onto the tarmac at Tan Son Nhat International Airport, greeted by a Vietnamese honor guard dressed in crisp white uniforms, their movements precise as they saluted him. A military band played Vietnam's national anthem, Tien Quan Ca, the notes stirring Traoré's heart as he stood at attention, his hand over his chest in respect. A red carpet stretched from the plane to a waiting delegation, led by a Vietnamese official who welcomed Traoré with a warm handshake. "President Traoré, it is an honor to have you with us on this historic day," the official said, his voice filled with genuine warmth. Traoré smiled, his eyes glistening with emotion. "The honor is mine," he replied. "Vietnam is a land of heroes, and to be here on this day fills me with pride." The celebrations in Ho Chi Minh City were a spectacle of national pride, a vibrant tapestry of history and hope. The streets were adorned with red and yellow flags, the star of Vietnam shining brightly against the morning sun. Crowds gathered along the boulevards, waving banners and singing songs of liberation, their voices a chorus of joy and remembrance. Traoré, escorted to the heart of the city, joined the official ceremony at the Reunification Palace, the historic site where North Vietnamese tanks had crashed through the gates on April 30th, 1975, marking the end of the war. The palace grounds were filled with dignitaries, veterans and citizens, their faces alight with pride as they commemorated 50 years of unity. Traoré, seated among the honored guests, watched the proceedings with a lump in his throat. A parade of veterans marched past, their uniforms faded, but their postures proud, their eyes reflecting the weight of their sacrifices. Children in traditional Ao Dai dresses performed a dance, their movements graceful as they reenacted the journey of Vietnam's struggle, from the French colonial era to the American War to the present day. A choir sang Nu Ko Bach Ho Trong Gai Vui Jai Thang, a song honoring Ho Chi Minh, the revolutionary leader whose vision had guided Vietnam to freedom. Traoré, listening to the lyrics, felt a deep kinship with Ho Chi Minh's legacy, a leader who, like himself, had fought against impossible odds for the sake of his people. When it was time for Traoré to speak, he stepped to the podium, his red beret a striking contrast to the sea of Vietnamese flags around him. The crowd fell silent, their eyes fixed on the African leader whose presence symbolized a shared struggle across continents. Traoré took a deep breath, his voice steady despite the exhaustion that gnawed at him, and began to speak. "People of Vietnam, I stand before you today as a son of Africa, a leader of Burkina Faso, and a man humbled by your courage," he said, his words echoing through the palace grounds. 50 years ago, you achieved what many thought impossible. You defeated the might of the American Empire, just as you had defeated the French before them. You showed the world that a united people fighting for their freedom cannot be broken. Vietnam is a land of heroes, a nation that has taught us all what it means to stand tall in the face of oppression. The crowd erupted in applause, their cheers a wave of affirmation that brought tears to Traoré's eyes. He continued, his voice growing stronger with every word. "In Burkina Faso, we are still fighting our own battles, against French-backed rebels, against exploitation, against those who seek to keep us in chains. But we look to Vietnam for inspiration. Your victory at Dien Bien Phu showed us that the French can be defeated. Your triumph on this day, April 30th, showed us that even the greatest powers can be driven out. I am here to learn from you, to honor you, and to carry your lessons back to my people. To be here on this sacred day. To witness your pride and your unity is a privilege I will carry in my heart forever." Traoré paused, his gaze sweeping over the crowd, his voice softening with emotion. "Vietnam, you are a beacon of hope for nations like mine. Your history is our inspiration, your resilience our guide. I am proud to stand with you today, to celebrate 50 years of your freedom, and to dream of a day when Burkina Faso can celebrate our own victories with the same joy. Thank you for welcoming me, for showing me the strength of a people who never gave up. I will return to Burkina Faso with your spirit in my heart, and I will fight for my people as you fought for yours." The applause was deafening, the crowd rising to their feet in a standing ovation that lasted for minutes. Veterans in the audience wiped tears from their eyes, their hands trembling as they clapped for the African leader who understood their struggle. Children waved Vietnamese and Burkina Faso flags, their voices joining the cheers as they shouted Traoré's name. President Vo Van Thuong, seated nearby, approached Traoré after the speech, clasping his hands in a gesture of deep respect. "Your words have touched us all," he said. "Vietnam and Burkina Faso share a bond of struggle, and we are honored to have you here." Traoré, his own eyes glistening, nodded. "The honor is mine," he said. "And I promise you this. When I return to Burkina Faso, I will invite Vietnam to visit us, to strengthen our bond, to build a future where our nations stand together as equals." The rest of the day was a whirlwind of celebrations. Fireworks lit up the night sky over Ho Chi Minh City. Traditional pho was shared among guests, and Traoré joined Vietnamese leaders in planting a tree at the palace grounds, a symbol of the growing friendship between their nations. Despite his physical exhaustion, Traoré's spirit was buoyant, his heart full as he witnessed the joy of a people who had earned their freedom through blood and sacrifice. He met with Vietnamese veterans, listening to their stories of the war, their voices heavy with the weight of memory, but also with pride. He spoke with young students, their eyes bright with curiosity, who asked him about Burkina Faso and shared their dreams of a peaceful world. And he stood in quiet reverence at a memorial for fallen Vietnamese soldiers, laying a wreath of flowers and whispering a prayer for his own fallen guards, whose sacrifice had allowed him to be here. The journey back to Burkina Faso was a time of reflection for Traoré. As the plane soared over the South China Sea, he sat by the window, his red beret in his lap, his mind replaying the day's events. He thought of the veterans' stories, the children's laughter, the unity of the Vietnamese people, and the lessons he would bring home. Vietnam had shown him that freedom was possible, that a small nation could defeat a great power, that unity and resilience could overcome even the darkest of times. He thought of Burkina Faso, of the villages of Corfai, of the rebels he had fought, of the French operatives who still sought to undermine his nation. "We will have our own April 30th, he vowed silently, his hand tightening around the beret. "We will win our freedom, and we will stand as proud as Vietnam does today." When Traoré landed in Ouagadougou on May 1st, he was greeted by a crowd of citizens and soldiers, their faces alight with anticipation. Despite his exhaustion, he addressed them from the tarmac, his voice hoarse, but filled with conviction. "I have returned from Vietnam, a land of heroes," he said, his words carried by a microphone to the gathered crowd. "I stood with them on their day of victory, April 30th, a day they drove out the Americans and reunited their nation. I saw their pride, their unity, their strength, and I learned that we too can achieve such a victory. Vietnam beat the French, just as we will. They defeated the Americans, just as we will defeat those who seek to oppress us. I am proud to have been there, to have honored their history, and I promise you this: I will invite Vietnam to visit Burkina Faso, to share their wisdom, to build a friendship between our nations. Together, we will rise. The crowd erupted in cheers, their voices a wave of hope and determination that echoed across the airport. Traoré, his body on the verge of collapse, stood tall, his red beret a symbol of the fight that lay ahead. He had gone to Vietnam to honor a nation of heroes, but he had returned as a hero himself, a leader whose love for his people and his vision for their future had been strengthened by the journey. The lessons of Vietnam would guide him. The spirit of April 30th would inspire him, and the bond between Burkina Faso and Vietnam would grow, a testament to the shared struggle of two nations, separated by continents, but united by the dream of freedom.
I spoke officially for the son of Africa, Muammar Gaddafi.
Now, when I seen this video earlier, you know, I could even shed a tear right now. This guy right here, they see the Al Qaeda and ISIS in America. They hate this guy right here. This was the spokesman for the Libyan government when Gaddafi was in power, and he was used to come on and make videos. They was trying to kill him. He was underground. You know, he wasn't hiding out, but he was staying safe. Right, he reported what was going on, saying it was ISIS and Al Qaeda. This dude here, they wanted him dead. He's a strong revolutionary. You know, he was the speaker for Gaddafi. Now he's coming out and letting the whole world know that next to Gaddafi, there's no one doing anything like Gaddafi except for Ibrahim Traor'e.
Today, I speak up, albeit not officially, for another son of Africa, Ibrahim Traoré. They came for Gaddafi and killed him. They killed Sankara before that, Lumumba. They went after Samora Machel and many, many others of our revolutionary sons. We must not allow them to come after our son and brother, Ibrahim Traoré. He is leading a genuine African revolutionary liberation project. He wants to have control for all Africans over our natural resources. He wants Africans to be united, to have African sovereignty, not just political or military, but African economic sovereignty. They come after him not because of democracy or human rights or stability, but to destroy his liberation project. Exactly what they did with Gaddafi, exactly what they did with Sankara, what they did with Samora Machel, what they did with Nkrumah of Ghana, and many, many other sons of Africa. Today, we must stand up. We must fight. Come with us to support the revolution in the Sahel region of our continent. Come to say no to imperialist forces of the West that keeps trying to maintain its hegemony and control over our continent. We must stand together.
Wow, this is the awakening of a sleeping giant. A sleeping giant. Africa is awakening. You see Africans around the globe calling each other to unite to protect revolution, to protect Burkina Faso, to protect Captain Ibrahim Traoré. Africans, we are united behind Captain Ibrahim Traoré. The one who was speaking is called or named Musa Ibrahim, a last spokesperson of the president of Libya, the late Muammar al-Gaddafi, calling Africans not to do the same mistake the Libyans and Africans did for Gaddafi. This time we are saying we are going to come together to raise our voices to protect our leader, Captain Ibrahim Traoré, and other leaders who have revolutionary ideas. So, kings and queens, also, Musa Ibrahim has said many things, and these are some words spoken by, and these are some words spoken by Ibrahim Musa or Musa Ibrahim, a last spokesperson of President of Libya, Muammar al-Gaddafi. And let us hear what he said.
Africa is bleeding, not because it's poor, but because it's being robbed. For centuries, Western empires looted the continent's gold, oil, rubber, and people. Today, the same powers wear suits, fly flags of democracy, and use institutions, corporations, and military forces to continue the theft. Neocolonialism 2. Gone are the days of British and French governors. But now we have Glencore, Shell, and Anglo-American corporate giants draining Africa's wealth under the pretext of investment. These corporations reap billions from African soil while leaving behind poisoned rivers, broken economies, and suffering people. Military muscle disguised as security. When boardroom tactics don't work, bullets take over. The USAFRICOM maintains over 29 bases across Africa. France militarizes uranium-rich Niger and gold-laden Mali. It's all about access, not security. The 2011 NATO-led intervention in Libya proved that. Gaddafi fell, chaos rose, and oil quietly changed hands. Cultural warfare. Western media and NGOs paint Africa as helpless, corrupt, and chaotic to justify intervention. But these narratives mask a deeper agenda. Control. Burkina Faso fights back. In August 2024, the revolutionary government of Burkina Faso nationalized 2 gold mines, defying the London-based Endeavour Mining. This was not just economic policy, it was a declaration of sovereignty. Today, that same revolution is under threat. AFRICOM is now implicated in managing the fallout from an attempted assassination of President Ibrahim Traoré, a revolutionary leader seen as a threat to Western dominance in the Sahel. The empire is nervous, Africa's wealth versus its poverty. Africa owns 30% of global mineral reserves, 40% of gold, 90% of chromium and platinum, and over 50% of cobalt from DRC. Yet 413+ million Africans live in extreme poverty. How? Because wealth extraction still favors the West. Debt as a weapon. Institutions like the IMF and World Bank trap countries like Zambia into austerity and dependency. Structural adjustment programs force African nations to privatize their wealth, clearing the way for foreign control. A new wave of resistance. Today, Africa is pushing back. Radical leaders like Traoré, Burkina Faso, Goïta, Mali, and Chiani, Niger, are rejecting Western military ties. The African Continental Free Trade Area, AFCFTA, aims to unify markets and reduce dependence on former colonial powers. Public support is rising for ideas once championed by Gaddafi, an African currency, resource-based banking, and continental integration. Looking eastward, Africa is building new alliances with China, Russia, India, and Brazil. Nations offering infrastructure, development, and fairer terms. This strategic diversification is reducing Western leverage.
By a former and last spokesperson of Libyan President Muammar al-Gaddafi. As you heard in this video, of course, the message is simple and clear that this is the time for Africans to come together. Africans, we are not poor. Africa, we are exploited. So we need to come together to reclaim our dignity, to reclaim our sovereignty, to come together and unite and speak with one voice. These things must not end to Captain Ibrahim Traoré, must go far. As I said many times, we need to go beyond of this. we need to demand a united Africa. African Union will not give us a united Africa. It's we, the people of Africa, who will bring a united Africa. So it's our duty, it's our responsibilities to make sure that we come together as Africans. We raise our voices, what we want to achieve as Africans. Yes, we have this Continental Free Trade Area, but Africa Continental Free Trade Area, without our desire, without our wishes, nothing will happen. The Africa Continental Free Trade Area is not for leaders, it's not for presidents, it's for we, the citizens. So we must come together as citizens, we must come together as Africans, unite and speak with one voice. We have Agenda 2063. What are we going to do to achieve Agenda 2063? And what is our mission as Africans? By the year maybe 2040, what we want to achieve by the year 2050, before 2063, what we want to achieve by the year 2035. Will we have infrastructure that is connecting us? By the year 2050, will Africa have enough energy? Africa will be industrialized. By the year 2063, when it comes, maybe at that time we'll have a single president, we'll have one army, we'll have maybe borderless continent. So those are things that we need to discuss as Africans. So at this time where Captain Ibrahim Traor'e is uniting us behind the revolution, let us come together, let us strategize. As I said, the African Union itself, without us, nothing will happen. Because till today, African Union said nothing about what happened to Burkina Faso. You see, so if we expect African Union itself to bring us a united Africa, we are lying ourselves. So as Africans, let us push what we want. Let us come together. Our unity is our salvation. Our unity is our strength. Let us raise our voices. So all people in the continent, in the diaspora, all of us where we are, let us come together and unite under this revolution. We want changes. We are tired to be called beggars. We are tired to be called poor while we have all these resources. Almost 80% of world minerals are in Africa. Oil are here. Everything are here. Africa has good weather, but still we are importing food. Africa has everything. Africa is the blessed continent, but we are still poor. We want to change these narratives. We want to make sure that Africa is going to become a donor continent. We are tired of being beggars, of being receiving grants and loans. While we have everything, we need Africans to come together. We should not only speaking, we need to put these words into action. Everyone where you are, make sure that you put your words, your feeling into action. If you feel you can do something better for Africa, do it. If you think you can do something that can change this continent, do it. Make sure that all of us, we participate fully in changing this continent. If our founding fathers at the age of 20s, 30s, they liberated this continent. If Captain Ibrahim Traor'e at the age of 34 took a country at a difficult time, and right now we see industries being built in Burkina Faso, road being constructed in Burkina Faso, people are feeding themselves in Burkina Faso at the age of 34. What about us who are above 35, who are between 60 and 30 years? What can we offer? What can we do? Why we wait Europeans and Americans to tell us what to do, to give us food? They feed us like the kids, like these small birds. I think the time has come for Africans to wake up, to awakening from this slumber, because if we continue sleeping, our resources will be gone. We need to make sure that Africans will come together. The message that is very important for us is the message of unity. Everyone where you are, make sure that you spread the message of unity, love, and peace. And if we can unite, we can have love. I hope peace will come, will break automatically. The problem that we are so divided in such a way we don't love each other. If we don't love each other, we fight each other. If we fight each other, there's no peace. If there's no peace, there's no development. So we live with jealous and hate among ourselves. That's why sometimes things are not happening. Even God cannot help us at this condition, because we have a lot of jealous. We have a lot of hate. So let us spread love, hope, and unity. I hope Africa can move forward. So of that, dear lovely family, friends, I've no more, but the main thing here to share this message from a last spokesperson of the president of Libya, the former president of Libya, Muhammad Ali Gaddafi, Mr. Musa Ibrahim. Thank you. Make sure that you share the message. If you have opportunity to watch this video, also like the video and also comment on this video. Don't forget to subscribe if you are new in this channel. Subscribe for more information. We are here to make Africa great. We cannot make Africa great if we are few. We need to make Africa great as a whole continent, as all Africans. So, kings and queens, thank you for your time.
Hey, I don't know if y'all heard, but Ibrahim said we could all come home. Bring our ancestors with us. There's room for all of us. It's $1,600 one way.
Please welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Belinda Strana. Thank you so much for all the love and support. To my returning subscribers, to those people that share my videos, leave commentaries, and also educate each and every one of ours. You guys are the real MVP. So lovely. I came across this video on my For You, and I thought to share where Ibrahim Traor'e is actually calling upon all of the Africa, both in diaspora, in the US, UK, anywhere you are. So far, you are a black person. They are calling for black unity. They are calling for black people all over the world. That it's time to unite. It's time to set records straight. It's time to take over. Like, lovely. When I saw this, I was so spectacle to stitch it. But you know how we do it here. I'm just going to roll the clip. As well as some of other stitches I was able to put together. Please, you can actually look it up. Leave me your own thought and lights. Let's dive into it.
The president of Burkina Faso says the descendants of the transatlantic slave trade can come to Burkina Faso and get citizenship. That's it. That's what you need to do to get citizenship there. That's the process. You go there and you apply for citizenship. It's that simple. Don't let any organization tell you that you gotta pay their fucking fees. You gotta sign up, be a member, do whatever. Burkina Faso doesn't want you to sign up. They don't care if you sign up for some fucking American.org. You go there and get citizenship. I'd like to plan a trip to Burkina Faso. So if anybody would like to go, but they just don't want to go alone, reach out to me. If you're an organizer, if you're someone who could help me make this happen and make it even bigger, I would love your help. Black people who are interested in getting citizenship in Burkina Faso, there is a Zoom meeting this Saturday, February 8th, held by ADDI. You'll be getting a whole bunch more information about the things you need to do in order to get citizenship in Burkina Faso this year. President Traor'e is calling us home. This is very serious. This whole initiative, President Ibrahim, this is all very real. I think if we collaborate, we find people like you and I who are committed to this thing, we can find real estate people in Burkina Faso, we can find construction folks in Burkina Faso, and we can find a number of other African Americans who are interested in building something. If one of these DNA companies has linked you to Burkina Faso already, you can just go. You can just go and get citizenship. Otherwise, you have to wait for a presidential decree. The presidential decree will happen at some point in June. We're still waiting on the exact date for June, but it's very real. Your ability to move to Burkina Faso, your ability to get citizenship in Burkina Faso is either now or in June. What we have it established and what we have the power to control is how prepared we are and what we make of it. I think we should purchase property. I think we should build a beautiful compound. I think we should think about where the African American community might be in Burkina Faso. We obviously plan to assimilate and become one of the people, but we're a people.
We definitely need the trafficking trade and build an economy with our brothers and sisters over there. That's what we definitely need to do.
We have our culture. There's Mexican neighborhoods and there's Chinese neighborhoods and whatever. African Americans can go be African American somewhere, but we're also going to go be African. You know, so let's build something together.
Our mission is first to awake Africa, and who more than you from Diaspora can make understand what is Africa. When I see you united in this institute, I am prouder because it is just what we ask for. Today our fight is to get united, because when you are united, you are stronger. Divided, you are weak. They work to divide us. I encourage you to send the message so Africa will get united. So we are open and you will be welcomed in Africa to develop your continent, to unite your continent and share the message of this unity. It is very important. Keep sharing the message to raise young people awareness that they stop being manipulated by leaders to be slaves for others. It shall not be allowed. There are some countries today where we want to send messages, but I think your voices are louder because you are the ambassadors everywhere you are. In America, in Europe, in Caribbean, you are ambassadors. When you speak, it can raise awareness. I urge you to speak to awake consciousness. It's the first mission I give you.
His message is clear. Burkina Faso is a wonderful place to visit and to live in, and so spread the word. Go and tell the world that it's not how the mainstream media and this Western governments paint it out to be.
You go there and get citizenship. I'd like to plan a trip to Burkina Faso.
All right, so apparently the latest country to offer citizenship to people who are descendants of the transatlantic slave trade living in the diaspora is Burkina Faso. Yes, the landlocked nation north of Ghana that you may have already heard that the president has pushed the French out once and for all, and even refused to have its pipelines support France and its natural resources and minerals to support France. So as a person who's amped right now and so happy to be alive during this time of neocolonialism and hopefully the shutdown of neocolonialism, I have 3 things that I think everybody needs to know. Number 1, this is not a random case of Africa struggling and out of desperation reaching out to the diaspora that it sent away as slaves 500 years ago. On the contrary, this is the case of a continent that was robbed of 12 million people 500 years ago. Do you think that might have had an impact on what Africa became? Do you think that increased Africa's vulnerability to the colonization that ended up taking place, that raped them of their resources? I think it makes perfect sense for them to say, welcome home. Number 2, the Russians are in Africa, the Chinese are in Africa, the Lebanese are in Africa. All kinds of people are there taking full advantage of this amazing, developing, emerging opportunity. It would make no sense at all if members of the African diaspora are the last or the least to help develop their own ancestors' continent. And number 3, here in the West, we basically reached our peak of development. It was built by slave labor. The descendants of that slave labor.
There'll be some big investment opportunities. You're talking about in Burkina Faso, big investment opportunities. Now we got to see exactly what the U.S. Treasury will allow and things of that nature, because I'm pretty sure they try to slap sanctions on you if you try to get any type of gold and things of that nature, diamonds or anything, probably try to federally arrest you. But it is other investment development opportunities that's going to be legal for you to do in Burkina Faso.
Labor have been marginalized for hundreds of years. And now that we're as free as we're going to get, we might as well utilize our options. And one option is to be involved in the most exciting work in modern life. Instead of spending all of our capital laboring over a country that's already developed, why don't we go to help develop the nations that our ancestors came from? Not just the borders that we see today, but the peoples. When I was in Cape Coast and Kumasi and Accra last week and the week before, yes, there was so much that showed that Ghana is very much a part of the 21st century. But there was so much that showed that it has a long way to go. When you're laid up on your deathbed, decades and decades from now, would you like to be able to say that you clutched with cold, dead hands to the country of your birth? the country that enslaved you? Or would you like to look back in time and say, I had XYZ skills, and I actually dedicated those particular skills to the needs of the continent, and look where it is now? Just something to think about.
Hey, I don't know if y'all.
Long revolutionary salute to our queen by Capricorn for the donation to the war chest. Revolution is a way of life. Absolutely appreciate the love, queen. Salute to you at work and help me keep the lights on. Appreciate you.
I heard, but Ibrahim said we could all come home. Bring our ancestors with us. There's room for all of us. It's $1,600 one way. Good morning, Miss Kanikia. Do not deny, or I'm quite sure your lineage is of Native descent. I have Native in my family history as well. In Florida, there are the Seminoles, which were slaves and natives, and in Jamaica, there are the Maroons, which were the indigenous there that mixed with the slave colony, who uniquely never were taking slaves. So it's not that you can't, but we're not talking about the native part of us, the Native American part of us, the indigenous part of us. We're talking about the part of us, our ancestors that come from Africa. And that's what this is about, not about the native part. You can be multiple things at the same time, but you have a great day.
And that's what we can't let, and I said that in the video I just dropped earlier, we can't let COINTEL operatives and counter-revolutionaries try to divide the indigenous brothers from the Pan-African brothers. No, we all coming together, global revolutionary for all of our ancestors that was victim to the imperialists, and they wreaked havoc on all these continents. We coming together. That's just that. You see, and anybody who tries to be divisive, you will be able to witness a COINTEL operative, you see, and a counter-revolutionary that need to be punished for that. But you're going to be able to see that. Anybody who's trying to nitpick and, bash the Africans or bash indigenous brothers and sisters here, then you already know what's going on now, and they need to get served a pizza for that bullshit.
Drink your water. Ma'am, you're so correct. And also those ancestry tests that you order online, they use your father's lineage. So most of us can trace our fathers back to Thomas Jefferson, feel me? So you actually have to get one that uses your mother's bloodline.
Have y'all been paying attention to what's been going on in Africa? Okay, girl, let me update you. Okay, so remember the last time we talked about the Democratic Republic of Congo, right? So what's going on is basically the African Union just took place. And if you follow my primary account, I already talked about it on there, and the video about it, the long synopsis, is located on Patreon. Believe me, a lot of people have already seen the video, but just to wrap it up for you, Ibrahim Traor'e, the current enacting president and revolutionary leader of Burkina Faso, held a meeting with the African Union for the second time in under 6 months, basically putting his foot down like, I know you niggas see what the fuck is going on in the Democratic Republic of Congo, and y'all niggas better make some shit shake. Y'all niggas better sit your $5 asses down and come up with a motherfucking plan and listen to what the hell we gotta say. Put your money in the motherfucking plate so we can come together and make a coalition.
All of the puppet, boule, African leaders, they know their time is up and they're on the clock. They all understand that. It won't be long before they're overthrown, because if they don't start imitating this brother and doing right by their people, they're going to be hung and they're going to be beaten. They're going to be drunk for power. That's just going to happen, because this brother is now the most powerful black man in the world. World leaders are looking to him. Revolutionary leaders are looking. That's just a fact now. Revolutionary leaders are looking to him. They're nobodies anymore. They don't dictate like the president of Kenya. They didn't, Nigeria, don't boule shoeshiners. They don't dictate nothing anymore for Africa. They've been exposed. And it won't be long before their own people drag their butt out of office. That's a fact, because they have been in power far too long for the people still being in poverty. And our brother Ibrahim Traor'e just got in power, and beautiful, marvelous things is happening. Then their nation is being respected. And then these other countries still don't got no respect. They shine the shoes of France. Now them people is tired of that shit. So it's a great day to see the boule leaders in Africa finally gonna pay for their betrayal of Gaddafi and all other revolutionaries over the decades.
Coalition to deal with the fuck is going on in the DRC, and I'm not playing. Now, he did not come alone. He came with
Revolutionary salute to our family at BLACK money sign for the donation to the war chest. Revolution is way of life. Absolutely appreciate the love, family. Say as the days go by, everyone is getting more and more tired of these people ruling over us. That's a fact. We don't want to be slaves no more. That's a fact. The earth gives us everything. That's a fact. And it's our time, revolution in the air. And that's why we got to, because the energy, it's the energy shift. So it's going to, what's happening, that's why we supporting them so they can support us out in our struggle here, because we not motherfucking playing. And that's a fact. So I appreciate the donation to the war chest. Revolution is in there, and this shit can't be stopped. And I want y'all to take notice of the Congressional Black Caucus not saying one damn word as these goddamn white supremacist imperialists try to target that brother and say he's using the wealth for himself. They know this a lot, but they're not saying nothing. You see, as they didn't say shit when they targeted Gaddafi and they watched black people getting put in cages. They don't give a fuck about trying to overthrow Ibrahim, the president of Nigeria, the president of Mali, and then the enslavers. Because we keep talking about, they keep talking about the transatlantic slave trade. The Arab slave trade was just as horrific. Don't ever forget that. They're trying to put Arab slave traders back in power. Never forget that. They need to be punished for this. What they doing? Trying to put slave traders in power in 2025. Hell no.
With his homies, Niger and Mali. Niger, Burkina Faso, and Mali have come together to create the AES coalition. Okay? The AES coalition is a bad member jammer, baby, and they be checking everything out. Now, since Ibrahim Traor'e has came into presidency, behind the person who previously Thomas Sankara, which is Ibrahim Traor'e's predecessor, not the man that acted in that seat, because that's the person who the West put in that seat so they could steal money from Burkina Faso and could continue to look the other way while shit took place in Rwanda. Why is that all coming together? Well, Thomas Sankara, which is Ibrahim Traor'e's predecessor, was assassinated for his role in stopping the destabilization in the 1980s. Prior to his assassination in 1987, he stopped the destabilization of Rwanda. He was sending over different teams to smooth things over. Well, the West didn't like that because it was always their plan to enter into the DRC to steal diamonds from the DRC at the time. They didn't know that cobalt and all types of other raw materials was in those mines. All they wanted was the diamonds, and they wanted to profit off that. They was also looking for oil, but found something much more expensive that pretty much pushed all of Africa and the rest of the world into the Industrial Revolution that we know today, which is the fourth Industrial Revolution for Africa right now. So basically, them iPhones you got, the West, they went looking for crack, and that's what they found, and they put it in them phones, and that's how where we are right now. So right now, Ibrahim Traor'e done got everybody, I'm talking all them countries in Africa together. They all came together and got some act right, because they didn't want him to make change out of their ass, and the only people that gave some flack was Uganda, Kenya, Nigeria, and Rwanda. And he said, I understand now, don't you worry, I'm sure you'll see things my way. Give it a little time, Buki. You'll see things my way. The number one initiative is for them to come up with a coalition that's going to be...
Never forget, when the final piece, it was the overthrow of the puppet Boule Arab leader, because he wasn't no African. He was a Arab. Yes, he was, goddammit. Leader of Niger. Then Nigeria threatened military force in Burkina Faso, Mali, Niger, threatening to overthrow their leaders, put sanctions on. Was talking real tough until Russia started sending advanced military equipment and the trainers and all that shit to Niger, Burkina Faso, and Mali, warning those puppets that back France that, hey, you're going to be dealing with advanced Russian hardware playing these imperialist games. See, they know they can't trust Nigeria or the leader of Kenya.
tackling what's going on in both Rwanda and tackling that M23 force that's going on in the Democratic Republic of Congo. In addition to getting those babies back in school, restabilizing the Democratic Republic of Congo, and ensuring that the DRC becomes self-sufficient. Now, these three countries are not doing it alone. They have somebody on their side. Actually, it's about 3 other people that are much more powerful. I can't tell you who they are, but that are backing them, which is why they felt so confident letting them be known. Listen, either you get down or you motherfucking lay down. Yeah, it's too much money on the table, and we got to make sure we take care of us, our country, our continent, and all of it inside of it, and kick the motherfuckers to the curb. Now, you can get down or you can lay down. We're trying to give you and your country the opportunity to thrive, baby. But the last thing we're going to do is allow you to continue to operate with the West and put all of our lives and all of our countries in this entire continent into further danger, as if things are already in the shitter. And I was like, damn. So he said this was going to happen. Y'all gonna continue doing what y'all doing. Make sure you roll it back. Stop doing the imports from them, imports and exports from them. Don't stop doing business with them. Make everything in-house. Senegal said, bet it. Because France was sniffing around. They wanted to help us get our oil. And they was like, well, what did you do? And he said, I sent that crackhead on her way to Australia. Worry about your homegirls. Don't worry about what the fuck we got over here. Only broke bitches be pocket watching. And I heard about what you did to France when they asked you if you would take $76,000 to look the other way, as if that was some kind of prize. But they didn't know that you had already given that money to your community and moved forward with trying to rebuild sustainable solutions, like putting solar panels in there, reinvesting into the farming equipment to start, and all types of shit. I mean, Burkina Faso is currently mass producing their very first electric car, surpassing a lot of the neighboring countries. So yeah, Ibrahim Traor'e ain't around. So he let it be known at that, him, Niger, and Mali, let it be known at that meeting, either you gonna get down or you gonna lay down. Let me know what's up. Let a nigga know. Cause we're going over there to handle some shit. And if you ain't getting down, then baby, you bound to drizzle. So let a nigga know right now so we can handle this, okay? Because it's gonna go down. I was like, damn, these niggas are serious. Now, this is the same things that his feminist predecessor, Thomas Sankara, were also tackling. But unfortunately, because the United States superseded and paying his friend at the time to him, he was unable to do so, as well as Muammar Gaddafi, unfortunately. But it looks like this time, oh baby, they coming out swinging, and they brought their friends with them, who just so happen to be the ops of America and the entire West, and they are not playing. Yeah, girl, it's a lot of shit going on in Africa. Now, if you want to, I do the analysis on Patreon, because TikTok be tripping and all that types of shit. And Godiva always got the 411. They basically call me the ghetto lady whistle down or whatever. So yeah, we be talking about it on the Patreon or whatever. But by the time this shit dropped, the video's gonna be already up there. And there's a video that I dropped last week, just in case you need to get caught up on what's going on. I know it's a lot of shit going on, but I'm always make sure, we simplify. So they basically collectively said, go for it about Australia, because judging by her performance in the Olympics, she gonna need a lot of help. And word on the curb is Australia too busy getting their head knocked between the washer and dryer by them kangaroos with sharpened toes. And they said, we have already tamed the lions, tigers, and bears and all types of shit over here. Baby, don't come sniffing your crackhead ass around here no more. Lady Liberty and your homegirls, don't forget about Izzy. Get your ass up out of here before you find the fuck out. And that was pretty much all she wrote. Like, they had to get the fuck, including Turkey. They said, Turkey, bitch, we see you hiding. Get out. And yeah. Woo! Oh, in addition to Sudan. So, okay, don't worry, I'm gonna tell you. Sudan called her, well, not Sudan, but the UAE, United Arab Emirates. Everybody who's anybody know that the UAE is some thieves, and they be stealing gold. They basically put up the money, got the money from America to put up for this rebel-backed group so that they can all profit off of the gold that they be stealing out of Sudan. Now, that has unfortunately left millions and millions of Sudanese and all types of shit by putting the money into creating a rebel-backed group that continuously causes destabilization through wars and all types of shit and coups and assassination, keeping chaos like a narcissist. A narcissist, when they want to do stupid shit to you and crazy shit to you and like steal your energy and drain you, what do? They just create an environment of chaos to constantly keep you in a consistent, confused state. That's what the UAE been doing. Now, they have come forth and said, but Whitney Houston also said she wasn't smoking crack. So it's just not giving, Mookie. Not only that, they have actual evidence, that of which the ICJ accepted after Sudan heard that the UAE, on behalf of America and Israel, went to South Africa and started fucking with South Africa and was like, hey, we got 10 million for you if you drop this ICJ case. And South Africa, who was offended by them just simply offering 10 million, bitch, you have lost your motherfucking mind. I take offense to that shit. 10 million measly funky ass. Hold on. Calls up Sudan and was like, yo, you know this heifer over here had the audacity to offer me $10 million to drop this ICJ case against Israel. And Sudan said, well, what you do? They said, oh, I sent them packing. And Sudan said, don't worry about it. I got it. Sudan entered the case into the ICJ, and from the way that they slid that shit over to the ICJ, you could tell they was waiting for the perfect moment. And they counteracted all that bullying that they was trying to do on South Africa. Sudan slid right in there and said, checkmate, bitch, we're going to court. No, because I heard you was giving out money, but you neglected to tell everybody that that's not even your money. You stole it. Yeah. We're just trying to figure out where you get this money from. Gold to city of gold, my ass. That's my shit that you building that city with. And you won't pay back every single dime. But yeah, all the rest of the information is located on Patreon, y'all. Click that link in that bio, and I'll be back with more on Congo and the rest of Africa.
Like seriously, lovelies. Me personally, I hope and I wish that this is the truth. I hope that finally the Black people all over the world are going to come together and own their own nation. I just hope and I wish that Black people for the very first time is going to unite with this revolution. This has always been the prayer of every Black person I think I have met, both physically and online. Like, Black unity is a hunger. Like, I am so hungry about it. Like, me personally, I don't know about any other person. I'm thinking about myself. I don't know about any other person, but I'm thinking about myself. I just wish that this should be an opportunity, because like, it's enough of the discrimination, enough of, like, do you know how rich Africa is? This is why these pan-colored people don't want to leave Africa alone. Do you know that the resources that is fueled in Africa can actually take care of Black people? These pan-colored people know about it. This is why they don't want to leave. This is why they are fighting tooth and nail, because they know that when Black people unite, it's just gonna be powerful. It's going to be very powerful, and they are fighting. They are like, they even goes as far as to use your own brother to fight against it, because they don't want that. They don't want that. When I saw this, I was like, going on my For You, I saw this, and I was like, I looked it up. I was trying to see where this man said it, but the way at which people are reacting to it, I don't know. I will tell you the truth. I am not 100% sure about this, but the way at which it's looking, there is, I think I shared the website. You can go visit and check, like, automatic citizenship. I think this is actually a good idea. That does not really mean that you're going to leave the state, or I'm going to leave the state, or whoever is going to leave the state. It's actually meant that you will have the opportunity to have a second option, to have a second home, just in case. You can have your US citizen, you can have your German citizen, you can have your European citizen, you can have anything, but dual citizenship shouldn't even be, it shouldn't be harmful, right? It should be a good thing, right? To have maybe a second place. I think it shouldn't be something that is. I also heard that Ghana. I don't know if you guys are, this country Ghana is also on the African continent, and so Ghana is also offering this. You can check it up, maybe check their embassy, just to be very very to get more informed. But I think that this offer is something that I think is not a bad one. Like, it's always good to have a second option, so that when the first option decides to F around, you're like, okay, Africa is developing massively, especially in real estate. Real estate. You can go over there, buy your land, and when you buy your land in Africa, you don't need to keep on paying tax. Like, I don't understand. Keep on paying tax after you have bought your house. Like, when you buy your house, it is your house. When you pay in full, it's in full. You don't need to pay any form of tax anymore. I think it's a very good destination for retirement as well. Like, let me just think about it. Like, I think it's something to think about, you know? But the thing is that I'm not 100% sure, but I think there is in any form of rumor, there's always true. That was why I have to like bring up here. You can look it up. You can go follow the guy on his platform. I left his watermark. You can go look him up. He's organizing something like a trip. He goes to Africa every 3 times in a year. So he's a Black American brother. What he does in his platform is that he organized trips to Africa. He will be going to Kenya. I think he will be going to Kenya by next month. He's open for anybody that wants to join him to just visit Africa. He was like, he wants to visit all his motherland before thinking of where to settle. So I think he's a very good person for you to follow up on his social platform. So I think he organized trips to Africa. He'll be going to Kenya. He'll be going to Malawi. I think he'll be going to any other African country, but he was like, he is all for Africa. And by November, December, I think he will be going to Burkina Faso. Okay, so you can just follow him up. I left his watermark for people who are very interested. I left his watermark because I think that having a second option, citizenship is not a bad idea. I don't think it's a bad idea. Like, it's actually good to have a dual citizenship. Anyway, love listener, just leave me your own thought in the comment section of what you think of this video. Please subscribe to this channel if you're yet to do that. Like, and I will see you, love listener, I upload the comment section of what you think of this video. Please subscribe.
When people talk about a Patrice Lumumba or a Kwame Nkrumah, for example, or Thomas Sankara, or even Sukarno, they always say that they were ahead of their time. But that's not true. They weren't ahead of their time. They were not revolutionary thinkers, if you know what I mean. They were just incredibly astute, mature, sensible men with a very crystal clear understanding about how things should be. There was nothing futuristic or utopian in their visions. They just understood and identified exactly what had been done to Africa and what was being done to Africa. And they understood exactly what liberation and what sovereignty required. You know, if they had been leaders in the West, no one would have called them revolutionary or even visionary. They just would have been regarded as logical, sound, rational, reasonable men who had an intricate understanding of economics and politics and basic fairness. I'm not saying this to slight them, not at all. I'm saying this to emphasize the heinous criminality of the Western power structure and how it has dealt with Africa. Because if you were a leader in Africa in the 1950s, the 1960s, the 70s, or the 80s, and you had a sound mind, a rational mind, you had an understanding of politics and economics, and you had an understanding of what's required for sovereignty and fairness, well, that made you a revolutionary, calling for pursuing basic fairness and sovereignty and independence for an African leader, saying things and doing things and implementing policies that just made sense for your nation, constituted rebellion. No, they weren't ahead of their time. Time refused to advance. Time was being held back, especially in Africa. The West, Europe, the UK, and America refused to allow Africa to exist in the present day. Not just Africa, of course, all across the global South. But nowhere was this more the case than in Africa. You understand? I pointed out before, more than once, relationships between countries, between continents, evolve and develop and change over time. We've seen drastic changes in international relationships in just the last 20 years. In fact, we've seen drastic changes in just the last 4 or 5 years. You know, even the last 100 days, to be honest. But the West's relationship with Africa has remained essentially the same for 1,000 years. Subjugation and extraction, looting and pillage. So for Lumumba or Nkrumah, it was the 1960s, but for the West, it was still the 1860s, the 1760s, the 1660s. For the West, Africa was frozen in time. They kept it frozen in time by force. They kept it frozen in time by violence, by assassination, by coups, by invasions, and by hostage governments and collaborators. They kept it frozen in time by predatory lending, by neoliberal policy coercion, by manufactured debt and abusive trade policies. You know, when they can't send soldiers, they send consultants. So no, those great leaders weren't ahead of their time. The West stopped time in Africa. And understand this, when you arrest the forward movement of a people, when you stop them in time like that, you're not just stealing their wealth, you're stealing their future. You're robbing them of possibility. You're burying generations that have not even been born yet under the rubble of your exploitation. Because what could have been created, what could have been discovered, what could have been achieved, it never gets a chance to exist. The mind of Thomas Sankara, the determination of Patrice Lumumba, the vision of Nkrumah, these weren't anomalies. They're the normal, natural, healthy state of a decolonized mind, of a liberated mind coming from a liberated people. They're examples of what Africa would have been, should have been, and inshallah, bi'ithnillah, still will be. But the West systematically crushed the conditions necessary even for normalcy to flourish. You see, you don't just kill the leaders when you kill the leaders or when you overthrow the leaders. You steal the future that those leaders could build. You know, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said in the Quran that when you kill one person unjustly, it's as if you killed all of mankind. Well, that isn't just metaphorically true. In the case of the leaders that the West has destroyed in Africa, they also destroyed millions of lives along with them. Millions of living and unborn lives have been destroyed in terms of their hopes, their opportunities, their rights, their freedom, their independence, their sovereignty. Well, you can trace the carnage going on right now in Congo today, all the way back to the assassination of Patrice Lumumba. They assassinate the idea. They assassinate the man who represents the idea so that future generations will look back and go, well, you know, they tried and they failed, so we better not bother. It's psychological warfare across time. Because if you can make a people believe that liberation is impossible, if you can make them believe that wanting sovereignty is naive and that dignity is an unrealistic hope, then you don't even have to conquer them anymore. They'll remain conquered inside themselves. And please understand, when we talk about people like Sankara, Nkrumah, Lumumba, Sukarno, we're actually just talking about the natural state of a decolonized mind. We're not talking about something extraordinary. We're talking about what's supposed to be normal, not exceptional, normal. They didn't have utopian visions for their countries. Like I said, they wanted their countries to be normal, but the West would not allow it. And back then, the West had the power to prevent it. The relative power, that's the key point. They had the relative power to prevent it. they had the relative power to steal Africa's future by prolonging its past by force. But as I've talked about many times, the West's relative power is receding. That old wolf still has fangs, but the global South is raising some young lions of their own today. They're reviving the spirit of Lumumba and Sankara and Nkrumah. Your grip on Africa is being pried open. And yes, of course, I'm talking about Ibrahim Traoré in Burkina Faso. And all the leaders in the Sahel Alliance countries, obviously, but especially Ibrahim Traoré. You know, it's often only in retrospect that we recognize the magnitude of a figure who shifts the course of history. It shifts the course of events in the world. But if anyone's paying attention, you can all see that Ibrahim Traoré is clearly one of the most consequential leaders, not just in Africa, not just in the Muslim world, but in the entire global South and in fact, in the world. You know, I said on X the other day that Ibrahim Traoré is the most important Muslim leader in the world today, more than Erdogan, more than MBS, more than anyone else, because of what he represents. You know, of course, I had a lot of fake Pan-Africanists in my comment section getting mad about the fact that I was referring to Ibrahim Traoré as a Muslim leader, because they only want to identify him exclusively as a black leader or as exclusively as an African leader. They don't want to acknowledge the fact that he is a Muslim, because in their CIA-produced Pan-Africanism, they're ready to exclude 500 million Africans from Africa. They're so propagandized in their mind by the CIA and by the intelligence that they think being African and being Muslim is a contradiction. They've fallen for the old divide and rule tactics of the colonizers. Their indoctrinated brains will short circuit over the inconvenient fact that the most admired and the most heroic leaders in Africa today are Muslims. In Burkina Faso, in Niger, in Senegal, even Naledi Pandor in South Africa is a Muslim, taking the Israel to the ICJ. Just because Ibrahim Traoré doesn't wear his religion on his sleeve, and just because he doesn't Taqwa signal, you know, all the time like some so-called Islamists, you think we don't get to claim him as part of our ummah? We don't get to say that he's a Muslim leader, but he is a Muslim leader. He's an African leader who's a Muslim. And I'm sorry to tell you, but again, the fact of the matter is that the best leaders you have in Africa today are the ones who are Muslims. You can get mad about it all you want. You can say, why does Shahid have to bring up religion? Why do you have to bring religion into it? But that's just a way of gaslighting about the fact that you don't want religion to be brought into it. You want to keep religion out of it. No, Ibrahim Traoré is fighting those Western-backed, Western-trained, Western-funded jihadi groups because he's a Muslim. Nobody has suffered more from those mercenaries than the Muslims have, suffered more from their violence and suffered more from the warped image of Islam that spread by their violence. Now, when Ibrahim Traoré stands up to those French and Ukrainian-backed psychopaths, he's standing up for real Islamic values, whether you like it or not. From the perspective of Middle Nation, from my perspective, from the prism through which we analyze the struggle for justice and sovereignty and dignity, Ibrahim Traoré's emergence is nothing short of historic. I mean, alhamdulillah, we have many great Muslim leaders in the world today, despite what everyone says. We have great leaders, many. But in my opinion, Ibrahim Traoré is the most important. Burkina Faso, the land they call it, the land of upright people, has again produced an upright man, not only for their country, not only for the Ummah, but for all of humanity. First, they gave us Thomas Sankara, who was a Catholic, but his life was extinguished before he could ever reach the full, before he could realize his vision. But today, in Ibrahim Traoré, we see that vision revived and refined and aligned with the consciousness of Islam. We don't have any hesitation acknowledging Thomas Sankara. We're proud of anyone, regardless of their faith, who stands for justice. You know, there were many leaders, heroic leaders in the global South, particularly in Latin America, who were inspired by the so-called liberation theology within the Catholic Church. Even if their own church hated them for it, we salute them. You know, even those with no faith, who genuinely struggle for the rights of their people, we salute them. It's a part of our faith, it's a part of our religion to appreciate those who genuinely stand for justice, even if we know that their vision is never going to be complete without Islam. So if you want to be proud of Ibrahim Traoré because of just his skin color, go ahead. If you want to be proud of him because of his country or his continent of origin, go ahead. But we're proud of him because of his belief. He's our brother in belief. We're proud of him because of his faith. And anyone who wants to deny that or deny us that, well, you're just petty and foolish and ideologically shackled. Ibrahim Traoré led a coup against a government that was subservient to its foreign masters. You know, there's been many, many coups across the continent, but usually those just replaced one neo-colonial agent with another, usually. But Ibrahim Traoré is different. He's not just changing the government. He is uprooting the whole system of neo-colonial domination, and he's succeeding. He's understood what many people have failed to grasp, which is that independence is meaningless if you don't sever the control of the owners and controllers of global financialized capital. He's understood that security is a myth as long as it depends on the military patronage of your former colonizers. And he's understood that sovereignty is impossible under the shadow of Western tutelage. He's not merely a head of state. Ibrahim Traoré is the revolutionary archetype of the 21st century. He was forged in the reality of Western-backed insurgency and Western economic warfare and propaganda. Because, you know, today the fight for freedom is not just waged by armies anymore, but by narratives and by resource policies and by alliances and by collective sovereignty. Traoré has made the choice to look towards Russia and Turkey and towards other new centers of power in the multipolar world. That's strategic, not because they're perfect allies, but because he recognizes the necessity of breaking the Western stranglehold on Burkina Faso. This is pragmatism in service to principle. This, again, is the methodology of Middle Nation. It's engagement without submission, cooperation without subjugation. It's trade-offs without selling out. He also understands, crucially, that Africa's liberation cannot be rented from outside. It has to be rooted in the reclamation of Africa's own wealth. You know, his moves to exert control over Burkina Faso's gold, building indigenous defense capacity and food sovereignty, these aren't just political decisions. These are acts of civilizational self-respect. It's a declaration that Africa's children will no longer be bled dry for the enrichment of Western imperial capital. We see Ibrahim Traoré as a brother, not simply because of his faith, but also because of his fight, because he embodies the spirit of the Quranic guidance to stand firmly for justice, even if it is against your own selves, even if it is against those who are in power, and even if it is against the odds. Burkina Faso isn't just a battleground today for the Burkinabe people. It's the front line in a global struggle for liberation. What Ibrahim Traoré is doing is echoing in the Sahel, in Niger, in Mali, across Africa, across the Ummah, across the global South, and across the world. Every oppressed people around the world can now look to Burkina Faso and to Ibrahim Traoré and say liberation looks like it's actually possible. But obviously, the global order trembles at the prospect that anyone is going to follow his example. They're afraid of his courage and his clarity and his defiance in the face of Western power and Western threats. And they should be afraid of that. They should tremble because they know the jig is up. But we know that when they get scared, they get dangerous. And Ibrahim Traoré is under severe threat. There's already been something like 20 attempts on his life since coming to power. They just stopped a coup from happening last week, organized by the Americans and by the French, right there in the French embassy. Because a free Africa is just something that old wolf can't take. You know, they've been keeping Africa in the past for so long that they know that if they let Africa get away from them, then they're going to be the ones who are consigned to history. The chains that have been holding Africa down all this time are also the only things holding the West up. So now America has said that they want to arrest him. You know, they've already tried to take him out more than once, like I said. Now they're trying to smear him. They're trying to attack him. They sent the head of AFRICOM to the Ivory Coast a couple of days ago, which is a neighbor of Burkina Faso and which is known to have allegedly, anyway, participated in the killing of Thomas Sankara. Allegedly, they participated in the coups or helped to organize the coups against coup attempts against Ibrahim Traoré. And the Western sycophantic leader that was overthrown by Ibrahim Traoré is in exile in the Ivory Coast right now. So they're getting ready for something. Understand, Ibrahim Traoré isn't just fighting insurgents and militants in the desert. No, every time he has to meet with some Western diplomat or politician or ambassador, he's fighting that same enemy. They're just wearing a suit and tie and meeting in some conference room or some embassy somewhere. But it's the same enemy that he's fighting in the desert. He doesn't have a meeting with any Western official except it's a kind of combat. Imagine the same ones that are smiling at you or from across the table. Those are the same ones who are also paying mercenaries to kill you. That's why there's going to be a continent-wide protest at the end of this month. I think it's on the 30th. And I really hope that we'll see activists fill the streets all around the world, not just in Africa. It's a demonstration in support of Ibrahim Traor'e, in support of Burkina Faso, and it's a protest against American and Western threats against him. And I really hope, wallahi, that we see massive numbers globally participating in this. Wallahi, I hope that even we'll see people of the Ivory Coast turn out for it. Listen, this is important. Burkina Faso is important. Ibrahim Traoré is important for everyone, not just for Africans, not just for the Burkinabés. This isn't about idolizing the man. It's about understanding the importance of what he represents. And what he represents is a paradigmatic shift that the whole world needs. You understand me? The OCGFC have been on a path of power consolidation for decades, accumulating more and more power in fewer and fewer hands and leaving almost nothing beyond their control. We are in a struggle against this consolidation. Do you understand? It's a struggle for decentralization. That's the essence of it. That's what multipolarity is. It's decentralization. We need to pursue, protect, and preserve variance. They don't want there to be any options. They don't want there to be any divergence, any independence. But see, they built their power structure initially on the assumption that American power would last forever. Now they're understanding that they have to recalibrate. They need to transition. It's like they built one of those Jenga towers on a kitchen table, and now they have to relocate it. They have to move that tower all the way across town without it falling apart. Because now you have to move to the global south. It's a completely different terrain than what they're used to. So they're going to try to eliminate as many variables as they can to try to manage this transition so they come out on the top. Because they don't want their tower to fall apart. But if their tower falls apart, that is liberatory for everyone on this planet. Burkina Faso, as I say, represents decentralization. It represents variance. It represents a threat to the power consolidation. They see Ibrahim Traoré as a glitch in their system, but their system is a virus on humanity. Burkina Faso represents not only the promise of African liberation, but liberation for all of us. And the instinct for liberation is not a bug in the human software. It's a feature. So everyone should do whatever they can, and we should all do all we can to try to defend and protect Ibrahim Traoré. Because wallahi, this is a matter of self-defense. Ibrahim Traoré isn't simply a political figure. He's a turning point.
Passionate about the future of Africa and believe in the rise of a free and prosperous continent, you are in the right place. Please take a moment to subscribe, like this video, share with your friends and family, and hit the notification bell so you never miss our important updates, especially tomorrow's coverage of the Continental protest for Captain Ibrahim Traoré on April 30th. Together, we are shaping history. Disclaimer: this content is created for educational, informational, and commentary purposes only. The analysis is based on publicly available information and verified news reports. We encourage our viewers to research independently and engage in informed discussions. Videos coming out of Burkina Faso have left many in awe, showing that Captain Ibrahim Traoré is a man of his word. Footage currently circulating online reveals the rapid progress of free housing projects he promised for his people. Many of these buildings are already nearing completion, just months after he ordered construction machinery from Ghana. a young Burkinabe citizen proudly showcased these impressive developments, expressing why the youth stand firmly behind Captain Traoré. It's clear that when leadership is genuine and focused on the people's needs, transformation happens quickly. So the question is, if Captain Traoré can achieve all this in such a short time, what excuse do other African leaders have for the endless poverty and suffering in their nations?
Toujours le pays des hommes intègres, le développement se continue. S'il vous plaît, il y a mon deuxième compte en bas. Regardez en bas de votre téléphone. Abonnez-vous. Abonnez-vous. Faso Aziz, Faso Aziz. Sinon, mon compte, ça les ont signalés. Ouais.
Le Burkina Faso, c'est pas Dubaï, c'est pas Paris, c'est pas New York. Burkina Faso, nous sommes au Burkina actuellement. Quand on vous parle de la reconstruction du Burkina Faso là, vous pensez que non, c'est de la blague. Vous-même regardez, le Burkina Faso en construction. Ah, regardez. Vous-même regardez. Ici là, c'est merveilleux. C'est le Burkina Faso que vous voyez comme ça. Nous sommes au Burkina Faso. C'est pas Paris, c'est pas New York, c'est même pas Dubaï. Ici là, c'est Ouagadougou. Vous voyez la reconstruction du Burkina Faso. Ouais, famille, c'est très chaud. Ibe c'est l'homme, hein. Ibe c'est quelqu'un. Vous me regardez. Pardon, faut venir de l'autre côté un peu. Tourne un peu. Voilà, faut montrer. Ici c'est le Burkina, hein. C'est pas Paris, c'est pas Dubaï. Voilà, faut montrer bien. Voilà. Ici nous sommes au Burkina, chez nous au Burkina Faso. Voilà, moi je suis sur le lieu maintenant. Voilà, on est ensemble. Ciao, ciao.
In another inspiring scene, elderly citizens of Burkina Faso were seen marching through the streets in full support of Captain Ibrahim Traoré. Their demonstration was a powerful statement that what the Western media portrays about the young captain is far from reality. When the very people who should be the most vulnerable are boldly standing with their leader, what does that say about the true narrative in Burkina Faso? Why then does the West continue to push a distorted story about a man clearly loved by his people?
Act but engage. For the homeland, it is through a march that these elderly people will express their support for the defense and security forces, as well as for the volunteers for the defense of the homeland. Support also expressed towards the Supreme Commander of the Armed Forces, Captain Ibrahim Traoré. A mobilization that the Regional Council of the Elderly of Robasin intends to maintain until the final victory over the forces of evil.
This march has the advantage of paving the way, marking the signs, reminding Burkinabés that the elderly should not exclude themselves from the march of history. We stand not to imitate, but to inspire. An elder does not imitate, they are imitated. Our country of Burkina Faso, long bent under the hands of foreign interests and internal complicity, is gradually rising. Today, it stands tall, driven by the unwavering will of its sons and daughters, and supported by a people embodied with courage and dedication, determination by His Excellency, Captain Ibrahim Traoré.
A support march that aims to be multidimensional and multi-sectoral, well received by the authorities.
Anyone who saw what happened this morning in the high basins, rewind what they saw, because our commitment is still determined and believed in, and count on us. We will liberate the country so that we can greet each other and come to the villages under the trees without worry.
When we heard the group resonate here, the Regional Council of the Elderly of the High Basins undertook a patriotic action, which consists of coming to support the Security Women's Gate, as well as the volunteers for the defense of the homeland. We told ourselves that it was timely and our duty to come out and address them, even though it was a noise. In any case, our message is to tell you that we greatly support your action.
This mobilization of the elderly from the Robase region as a show of support for the FDS and VDP was marked by the presence of the minister in charge of secondary education, the deputy minister in charge of animal resources, and the one of public service.
Meanwhile, the energy for change is not limited to Burkina Faso. Tomorrow, April 30th, Africans from all over the continent will stage historic protests at U.S. embassies in their respective countries, with a single unified message: hands off Captain Ibrahim Traor'e. Plans for these protests have been making rounds on social media, and African youths are determined to defend their leaders against foreign interference.
Mr. Speaker, I want to talk to Africa today. Mr. Macron, the President of France, we want to request you to leave alone the leaders of Africa. Ibrahim Traor'e took charge when political temperatures in Burkina Faso were not okay. Corruption was at peak. Lies were at peak. Ibrahim Traor'e has designed Burkina Faso for the Burkina Faso people. Let him do his work. Yesterday, there was a military coup which was being sponsored by Ivory Coast. We want to tell the president of Ivory Coast, Bwana Ouattara, leave Burkina Faso alone. We don't want imposed leaders on us. If you find a young man aged 34 years has decided that there will be no famine in Africa, there will be no people who cannot go to school, there will be people who will not die because of malaria, let him work. Let him finish his vision.
There is a protest coming. This has to be the biggest march and the first act of demonstration on the streets of all African states in Africa's history. This march will be 100 times bigger than the March for Civil Rights in Washington, which brought together over 250,000 black people in 1963. This will be a march in support of Captain Ibrahim Traor'e of Burkina Faso. This shall not be the end, but just the beginning, ladies and gentlemen. The reason is simple. France and the United States government needs to back off from any attempt to remove Captain Traor'e from office. Forget about your plans. Forget about his name and his country. Let it go, America and France. Begin looking for an alternative outside of Africa. He's our own. He is doing exactly what the people of Burkina Faso and many other African countries wish their leaders were doing for them, and that's exactly how it should remain. He is to us what the patriots were to the American cause when it came to the freedom of America from British rule in the American Revolutionary War in 1775. He is to us what Mao Zedong of China was to the Chinese people in 1966 in their fight for China's preservation from imperialists. Captain Ibrahim Traor'e, contrary to what the West wants the world to believe, is a modern day African hero, and this will never change.
Already in Europe, African demonstrators have marched to the U.S. Embassy in Italy, delivering a clear message that they will not sit idly by. Doesn't this rising solidarity show that the spirit of Pan-Africanism is alive and burning stronger than ever? Isn't it proof that young Africans are ready to take back their destiny? If you appreciate the work we are doing to highlight these important stories, please consider supporting us by sending a super thanks or joining our membership perks. Your support ensures that we continue delivering truth and awakening our people across the globe.
Ils ne peuvent pas découvrir ce qu'ils prennent au niveau d'Afrique. C'est pour ça qu'ils sont en train de mentir. Ils disent l'AES, c'est une zone rouge. Ils ont dit, c'est une zone rouge. Et France, ils ne peuvent pas partir à l'AES. Maintenant, quand ils ont vu, il y a d'autres avions qui partent à l'AES, ils ont décidé de reprendre Traor'e, France, Mali, Niger. Capitaine Ibrahim Traor'e a dit, vous avez dit que Burkina Faso, c'est pas un dissidence en partie. Vous avez dit que l'AES est rouge. Maintenant que vous voulez partir, il faut écrire que l'espace AES est devenu vert. Pour ça, vous allez prendre le trajet entre Burkina, Mali, Niger, France. Ils sont pas prêts. Nous aussi, vous êtes d'accord que Air France, il vient à Bamako? Est-ce que vous êtes d'accord que Air France vient au Niger? Donc nous disons non Air France, non France 24, non.
While Burkina Faso is setting a powerful example, it casts a heavy shadow on the painful realities elsewhere, particularly in Nigeria. A heartbreaking video circulating online shows a Nigerian mother in tears, crying out because she can no longer afford basic food items to feed herself and her children. She pleaded with Nigeria's First Lady, Remi Tinubu, to urge her husband to address the suffering of ordinary Nigerians. She described how food prices have skyrocketed, with many now going to bed hungry.
Remi Tinubu, you are a mother. Say something. Nigerians are suffering. Remi Tinubu, you are a mother. Say something. Your husband is killing us in this country. Nigerians are dying. Tinubu, your government is terrible. And your wife is there keeping quiet, supporting you, calling herself a mother. Which kind of mother does that? Which kind of mother does that? Letting the children God put in your head dying. Oh God, take control. Let no peace for the wicked. Remi Tinubu, where are you? Nigerians are complaining and you are keeping quiet. You people are not saying anything. Tinubu, your government is terrible. If you talk, you die. If you keep quiet, you are still going to die.
Is it not a tragedy that in a land so blessed with resources, its people are dying of hunger? What greater indictment could there be against the failure of leadership?
This is a plead with a beg to our President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. Dear President, the hardship is telling on us, most especially widows like me. I'm a widow of 2 children who are still toddlers. I became a widow, Your Excellency, sir, because of the insecurity of Nigeria. My late husband was in 2022 and was killed despite paying ransom. Your Excellency, I'm law-abiding, I'm hardworking, and despite the insecurity in Nigeria made me a young widow and made my twins fatherless, I still keep pushing. I still remain in Nigeria. I still stay and live in Nigeria. But dear President, please, I'm begging. The hardship is too much. The hardship is telling on us. I have 2 children and I'm working hard. Everything is on the hike. Many young widows are suffering today. Please pity us. Have mercy on us. Dear First Lady Oluremi Tinubu, please, you are a mother and you are a wife. And I know and I believe you know what we are going through, especially young widows like me. I became a widow because of insecurity in Nigeria.
Meanwhile, reports allege that the Lagos state governor was seen in St. George's, Grenada, celebrating a girlfriend's birthday with over $150,000 spent. While back in Lagos, some local governments still lack access to clean pipe-borne water. How is it possible that while the masses starve, leaders indulge in such extravagant luxury abroad? When will the people say enough is enough? As the fire of liberation sweeps across the continent, one must ask, when will Nigerians realize that true power lies in their hands? When will a leader like Captain Ibrahim Traor'e rise from Nigeria to break the chains of neocolonial puppetry and deliver the people from the bondage of poverty and misrule. We at the Africa News Channel promise to bring you all the updates from the monumental Continental protest happening tomorrow. We urge all freedom-loving Africans to stand up and be counted, because this is a movement that no colonial power can stop. Before you
because they try to control still, to impose their rules, their principles, their values in African continent. And you have passed through all these proofs. And now it is time to revenge.
This one will hit hard and will also cut deep. Alexander Dugin, one of Russia's fiercest political minds, just laid it out raw. Africa's time for revenge against the West is now. Not with blood, but with power, pride, and purpose. He didn't sugarcoat a thing. As the continent breaks free from the chokehold of Western dominance, Dugin maps out the path to reclaim what was stolen: strength, dignity, and sovereignty. This isn't just a speech. It's a call to arms for every African thinker, leader, and citizen who's done being told their worth by outsiders. Watch it, let it sink in. Then drop your thoughts in the comments, and don't forget to subscribe. Africa must rise again.
To think about the place of the African continent and African countries and African people in the context of emerging multipolar world order is the central point, is a most important thing to think of, to discuss, and to elaborate. Because, first of all, we need to understand that world order is changing now under our eyes. The previous unipolar world order, based on the unipolarity, on the hegemony of the West, of the globalist liberalism and capitalism and colonialism, is over. The time, epoch, the age of domination of the West over the rest is over. A new world order is taking shape just in front of us. It is multipolar world order. African continent should be united and should become the real independent pole of the multipolar system. It is not enough to have in Africa such big countries and powerful countries as South Africa or Nigeria or Ethiopia or the other. So there are many serious and strong African countries, but they are incomparable in front of the other poles. In order to grant to Africa the real sovereignty, or that could be comparable with the other pole, we need to unify Africa. And that the relevance and central place of Pan-Africanist movement appears here. From the very beginning of anti-colonial struggle of African people, the best minds of African continent, Leopold Senghor, Krume, Sheikh Anta Diop, and many others, they dreamed about this unified Africa, Africa that will transcend the artificial post-colonial borders, cutting the tribes, the ethnic groups, the cultures, ancient African political entities, and imposing the colonial rules for the post-colonial Africa. So we need to think about how to help to the Africa to become independent pole, the big space, how unite Africa on the spiritual level, on the economical level, on the financial level, on the security level. So we need greater Africa as the new pole of multipolar world. And in order to do that, we need, first of all, to help to the African peoples to decolonize them finally, because after political decolonization, the colonial presence of the ex-colonial powers is still here in the mind of African people. So there is a kind of colonization of minds, because colonial powers coming out from Africa, they have left here their political ideas, liberalism, nationalism, their economical system, capitalism, market society, their cultural patterns that now embedded in the anti-human tradition of LGBT, post-humanism, and so on. And so the ex-masters and slave traders of the West, they are still controlling the African minds, political, cultural, social, economic minds, ruling Africa in the indirect way. So in order to get free, to liberate Africa from the colonial heritage, you need to make the final move for African liberation and decolonization of mind. And decolonization of mind could not happen only in one African country taken separately. So in order to re-establish the dignity of African culture, autochthonic African culture, we need to work together, to bring together different African people, and to create greater Africa basing on African spirit, on African idea of anti-colonial, post-colonial, somehow pre-colonial identity. You know that your people, African people, suffered many years, the centuries from the Western colonialism. So many dead, so many enslaved people, so many suffering, violence, rape, humiliation of African identity. And you have passed through all these proofs. And now it is time to revenge.
Before we continue, if you love what we do here on this channel and would like to support us, then you might consider gifting us a super thanks donation of any amount. Or you might as well become an uplifting Africa channel member for exclusive content, perks, and more. Links to join are in the pinned comment and in the description box.
But the revenge should be repetition of the same attitude as the colonial masters have exercised against your heroic and rich, spiritually rich people. It is not African way to respond. I think the best revenge of the Africa is to make Africa great, greater than before, to unite Africa, to show the example of flourishment and prosperity of independent African pole, civilizational state of Africa. So I think that will be the revenge if you show your ex-colonizers the better way out of the present global crisis that the West is drowned in. So I think to restoration of the African greatness, the African dignity, that will be the best answer for those who tried to keep the African population as the slaves, as the subhuman. And the West could not recognize fully its crime because they tried to control still, to impose their rules, their principles, their values in African continent. And they don't help in the reality to the African revival. And they still exploit that special African character, very mild, very subtle, in order to continue to exploit African people, in order to liberate Africa and to create its place, its natural place, organic place in the multipolar world. We need to liberate Africa from any kinds of colonization, and first of all, from colonization of minds. And in that sense, Russia, as the country that never participated in colonial adventure of the West, never had any colony in Africa, Russia stays now at your side. We support you fully, and I hope and I believe that the same attitude will be confirmed from all our multipolar friends, from China, making many efforts to revival African economy, African industry, transport system. The same attitude we expect from India, from Islamic states, from Latin America. So the multipolar club, it is full of the friends of the Africa, sincere, and faithful. And I think that together we will overcome, and we, with Africa and relying on Africa, we will create a multipolar world. So the African continent should be united in the transport systems and maybe making its own currency, Pan-African currency. We need to find the new identity to unite different ethnical and religious and cultural groups of Africa. So we need to make this African unity inclusive and not exclusive. We need to accept all kinds of identities, all kinds of traditional values of different tribes, ethnical groups, nations. And I think that is the challenge. We need to make Africa economically sovereign, culturally independent from all the rest. And when there are the friends, real friends of Africa, African people will be very grateful.
Please support our effort to scout the internet and bring forth uplifting updates about the mother continent every now and then by donating a super
Emmanuel Macron, France president, has a message for Africa, for Burkina Faso, and for Ibrahim Traoré. According to what he said, France cannot leave Africa. France cannot leave Burkina Faso. France cannot leave Nigeria and every other African country because Africa is backward and Africa need France to assist them. So because of that, even with the advocation that Emmanuel Macron of France should leave Africa alone, Emmanuel said, no, we cannot let you guys be now. We have a stronghold in your development. We have to assist you to develop before we can let you guys be. According to Emmanuel Macron, he said, now is not the time for France to leave Africa. That Africa is not capable of managing on its own. He said, if we leave Africa, firstly, let us emphasize on Africa is not capable to live on its own. So you mean our leaders, we meet this man face to face, we respect a man who constantly tell you that you are not capable to rule your country. You are not capable to be on your own. I can't imagine. So you mean our leaders, we sit with this man who constantly treat us like babies and say, no, oh God, man, our leaders now, wow. He said, if we leave African countries to manage on their own, now is not the time. Africa remains the least developed continent. And history shows we have a role to play in supporting its growth. A complete withdrawal could halt progress. There is still much work for us to be done in Africa, and we believe they are not fully ready to strive without our involvement. Ibrahim Macron, I talked that one. No, I say Ibrahim. Emmanuel Macron said that about Africa. That Africa are still babies. If they withdraw from Africa, there will be total halt on growth. Africa will not develop. If France withdraw from Africa, because of that, they can't. Even if Africa is saying, please leave us alone, please leave us alone, he said, Lala, they cannot withdraw. That's to say,
We are kids. Okay, since they have been involved in development of Africa, how many refineries have they developed in Africa? How many refineries of the things that they are exporting from Africa have they developed in Africa? None. Please let me know if there are so many. Let me know, guys. No. Mineral resources they are carrying, they don't develop it here. They buy it cheap here and sell it over there. And you mean you want to develop Africa by doing that? For the past how many years? Close to 100 years. You are still developing. You are not. Man, Africa, we are still babies. I can't imagine this guy making such statement. And meanwhile, our leaders will carry their suit and tie, their agbada, and travel to France all the time to speak with a man who sees you like kids. See you like kids and be like, all those people are babies. That's how you say Ibrahim Traor'e. That's why Ibrahim Traor'e said, please leave us alone. Ibrahim Traor'e said, they claim that the African continent is the poorest continent, and yet they don't want to leave us alone. Is it by for this modern day slavery? Modern day slavery. Leave us alone. Laila, we are not leaving you alone. Leave us alone. Laila, we are not leaving you alone. You guys are not ripe enough. Leave us alone to ripe ourselves. Laila, we cannot leave you alone to ripe yourself. Well, guys, that is coming from France President Ibrahim Macron. That's what he said. That's coming from France President Ibrahim Macron. He said, I cannot leave you guys alone. You guys are unserious. You know the crease if you not say me can leave you alone. Then you remember the propaganda that is currently going on Ibrahim Traorè's name. In fact, this guy said, this Aliyu Emekai Chigozirim Aliyu. This person is a fake account. It's not a real person. This person is answering 3 names at the same time: Igbo name, Yoruba name, and Hausa name at the same time. I'm trying to get the face of this person. It's not even there. It's not a real person. So this is what he has to say concerning Ibrahim Traoré. You know, Reno Mokere said his own yesterday. I will post it about it. This is what this guy said. He said, why are these people, Nigerians, going up to criticize Ibrahim Traoré? Why? So this guy said, this boy, that means this boy, Ibrahim Traoré, is worse than the man he forcefully took power from. No amount of whitewashing and social media PR can convince me otherwise. When you already made up your mind that nothing can convince you otherwise, even if you see progress, then nobody should even try convincing you. You are doomed. You have doomed yourself. If anybody can say, I can never be convinced, even if you claim you are good, you have shown me goodness, I will never like you. There is no need to patronize that person or to move, to do things that make that person like you. He already hates you. Whether you are righteous or not, he hates you. That is the statement he made. He said, you claim, he said, no amount of PRO can convince me otherwise. No amount of whitewash and PRO can convince me otherwise. The people of Burkina Faso are in deep trouble. They don't just know it yet. So you all the way from Nigeria, you are telling the people of Burkina Faso that they are in deep trouble. It's the same thing in France, all the way from France, people in France, Ibrahim Macron telling Africa that they do not need to develop yet, that they are not ready to be on their own. It's the same thing. So you mean a black man can act as a white supremacy at the same time? He said, you claim you forcefully took power from a democratically elected president because you want to save your people from the grips, international slave master. But today, you are kissing the buttocks of another slave master. You must do business with other people now. People are criticizing him doing business with Russia. You cannot survive as a country without doing business with other countries. They have the technology like China. Every world, in fact, 50% of the world population cannot survive without China. Yes, we must do business with them. So now him going to Russia to give them license, what's wrong? He must do business with country, and he must do business with country he trusts. So why are you criticizing him doing business with Russia? Other people do business with other countries that they trust. So why criticize the president for doing business? Why single out Russia? Russia, no Africa, no European country, no any white country has helped Africa the way Russia has helped Africa. Let us get that straight to our brain. Russia never came to Africa to colonize it. Why do we just hate Russia? All because of the media painted it for us to just hate them. What have they done to us? What? Then he said, the France government hates you, but the Russia government means well for you. Really? How convenient. Military rule has never benefited Africa and will not start now. The people of Burkina Faso and other African countries enslaved by these power-hungry settings shall be set free in no distant time. You all the way from Nigeria, you have not set us free from the shackles of those leaders that are dealing with us. You want to set Burkina Faso free. Write it down today. Democracy must come back to Burkina Faso and all other affected African countries where these criminals are forcefully taking power. Okay. Good luck on that. Let me check the comment. Let's read the comment. Someone said the press over there can express themselves. Okay. Someone said, have you been paid to do this? Or what the meaning of this so-called Nigeria having headaches over Burkina Faso? Someone said, look at another fool. When we finally have a sane government, someone from Burkina Faso is claiming they have the same government, but someone all the way from Nigeria is trying to liberate people in Burkina Faso, and he hasn't even liberated his own country yet. He hasn't even made medicals and medical things, medicine, and healthcare affordable for everybody. He hasn't even made education affordable for everybody. He hasn't even made constant light affordable for everybody in Nigeria. He hasn't even dealt with insecurity in Nigeria. He hasn't even dealt with unemployment in Nigeria. You are trying to liberate another country from themselves. The irony. Your house is smelling. You are telling another person his house is smelling. Come on, man. I'm so tired of reading this foolish thing. I'm so tired of foolish. And meanwhile, let's go to the issue between Sanwo-Olu and Peter Obi.
Another Savior, holy, 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 another Savior.
In a time when the fight for African sovereignty grows louder, the bold defiance of one man echoes across the continent. Captain Ibrahim Traoré of Burkina Faso is not just resisting the old colonial powers, he is building a new path forward. You're watching the Africa News Channel, where we tell Africa's stories with clarity, depth, and purpose. If you're new here, welcome. And if you're returning, thank you for being part of this journey toward a more awakened Africa. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe with the notification bell turned on so you don't miss our next report, especially tomorrow's coverage of the Pan-African protest across all U.S. consulates in Africa. Disclaimer. This report is for educational and informational purposes only. It does not promote violence, hate speech, or misinformation. All statements are based on publicly available reports, social media footage, and verified news coverage. Viewer discretion is advised. Following last week's alleged assassination attempt on Captain Ibrahim Traor'e, the young revolutionary leader has intensified military and diplomatic ties with Russia, a strategic move that appears to be sending strong ripples across both sides of the global divide. Many believe the recent attempt on his life reflects the fear that his bold defiance of France and the West is inspiring across the continent. In a video making rounds online, Captain Traoré confidently described Russia as a true friend of Africa, a partner that supported many countries through decolonization. He made it clear, Burkina Faso is done with France, its former colonial master, and is looking eastward toward allies that respect the nation's sovereignty.
Vous avez déjà évoqué le volet diplomatique. Ça a été dommage. Je tiens donc vous signifier l'amitié surtout à cette étape. Et je puis vous rassurer que la situation que la Russie vit actuellement avec l'opération militaire, que vous avez en tout cas le soutien du peuple burkinabé et le soutien donc à toute la sous-région. Et donc c'est un point très important pour nous et on souhaite que le désir de changement des différents peuples. Voilà, nous ne dirons pas le désir de changement de partenaire, mais le désir de changement de la politique. Et ce qui amène donc forcément à tourner dos à nos partenaires traditionnels et à nous tourner vers les vrais amis que sont donc la Russie, qui nous ont soutenus depuis la période de décolonisation jusqu'aujourd'hui.
Could this be why the West appears increasingly uncomfortable? Could Traorè's actions be the catalyst needed to spark the kind of continental awakening Africa has long awaited? Video evidence shows that this new partnership is already bearing fruit. Large-scale housing and infrastructure projects have rapidly progressed, visibly shocking many Africans used to decades of stagnation and foreign interference. It's becoming evident that the vision for Burkina Faso is not just talk, it's a movement built with bricks, steel, and unshakable resolve.
La production de farine de blé au Burkina Faso s'intensifie. Implanté à Gampela dans la commune rurale de Saba, Moulin Double Star M2S veut relever le défi de l'approvisionnement des Burkinabés en farine de blé. En ouvrant officiellement ses portes industrielles ce 20 février 2025, c'est un événement qui réjouit le président du Faso, le capitaine Ibrahim Traoré, en ce qu'il constitue un acte majeur dans la marche vers la souveraineté alimentaire du pays des hommes intègres.
Notre présence ici, c'est d'abord encourager aussi le secteur privé à emboîter le même pas, à permettre de transformer nos matières premières ici sur place. Donc nous venons encourager le promoteur, certes, mais à travers lui, inviter tous les Burkinabés qui sont en mesure de transformer nos matières premières, d'industrialiser le pays, de se lancer dans la dynamique, et aussi ceux qui sont de l'extérieur, les inviter à venir investir au Burkina Faso.
In breaking reports from a credible Burkinabe journalist, Russia and China have now agreed to deploy military troops and special units to Burkina Faso. The goal? To help protect President Traoré and to assist in combating terrorist cells believed by some to be backed and funded by Western interests. If true, this collaboration signifies a major geopolitical shift, and it's clear the West is watching nervously.
We have some good news from Burkina Faso. Russia and China have vowed to support Burkina Faso President Ibrahim Traoré in all the ways they can. And in fact, China has promised to send 500 troops to Burkina Faso to deal with the problem of terrorists in Burkina Faso for once and for all. And these soldiers are going to the northern part of Burkina Faso, where it is highly infested with terrorists who are sponsored by, the West is sponsoring them so that they can cause chaos in Burkina Faso. And China has promised, together with the Burkina Faso army, they are going to deal with that menace very soon. as even Africans are preparing to march in support and solidarity of Ibrahim Traor'e. So Ibrahim Traor'e has said very soon, in just 2 weeks, the problem of terrorists in Burkina Faso is going to end for once and for all. Burkina Faso is going to be a very safe place where anybody can go anytime. And he has called all the Africans to stand and support him as he is trying his best to ensure that Burkina Faso is safe from Western influence.
Could it be that the powers that once dictated Africa's fate are no longer in control? Could this be the moment where the continent reclaims its destiny? Meanwhile, across Africa and the diaspora, the people are not silent. A historic protest is set to take place tomorrow, April 30th, as Africans across multiple countries prepare to march to U.S. embassies and consulates. Their message is loud and clear: a hands-off Captain Ibrahim Traoré. Hands off Africa. In Italy, Africans have already taken to the streets in support of Burkina Faso's young leader. Social media is flooded with videos showing thousands of people calling on the West to end its interference.
Why?
The sentiment is overwhelming. If anything happens to Captain Traoré, the world will know that Africa is awake. Can the United States and its allies continue to ignore the united voice of the African people? Is this the end of AFRICOM's unchecked military influence on the continent? For far too long, Africa has been seen as a land to be exploited, not respected. But today, from Ouagadougou to Lagos, from Accra to Addis Ababa, a revolution of the mind is taking root. This is not just about one man, it's about the rebirth of a continent.
Ibrahim Traoré, the president for Burkina Faso. Why are we getting involved with Burkina Faso? They have driven the Western influences out of their country. They've paid off their debt. They have increased their GDP. This young president is now investing in his country, in infrastructure, in agriculture, and in education. Why is the West trying to destabilize Africa now? Why? Because you guys would go in and rape the country and get the minerals, the gold, the precious metals for pennies on the dollar, while the country live in poverty. And the prime minister said no more. We will sell our own resources to the world at market value, so my people can benefit. And now some Marine general is getting ready to go there, saying that the man is a threat to his people. Tell me, how is that? We don't give two rats behind about Africa, because Africa been struggling for the longest. We've given them vaccine that has killed half of the population. We've done all kind of atrocity to Africa. And now that a nation is actually forging an alliance and becoming prosperous, we want to go down there and destabilize that. America, we need to wake up.
Africa is speaking. And for the first time in decades, it feels like the world is being forced to listen. The question now is, will you stand on the sidelines or be part of this historic moment? This platform exists to amplify your voice. If you believe in what we do and want to support more independent African journalism, consider joining our channel membership or leaving
It seems that there is way more to the story regarding Michael Langley and his comments about Burkina Faso and Ibrahim Traoré last week. There has been actions that have gone under my radar that I'm just coming to discover now, which I'm going to share with you. These actions are documented. Sadly, it's far darker than anything that I expected, and I personally made a big underestimation of their actions. And in this video, I'm going to reveal exactly what the United States have been doing in regard to the AES, Mali, Burkina Faso, Niger, and Ibrahim Traoré, which goes way beyond the words that got everyone riled up last week. If you're interested in understanding exactly what Michael Langley has actually been up to regarding these countries, stay tuned. For those of you who don't know, my name is TJ. I'm Nigerian and British mixed. I grew up mostly in the UK, but a couple of years ago, I decided to move to Uganda to start a new life with my partner, Medina. The channel started off just documenting my journey, but over time, the channel has evolved to me trying to understand why Africa has not reached its full potential and what can we do for Africa to actually realize its full potential. This is why I'm so interested in the story around Ibrahim Traoré, because it appears that Ibrahim Traoré is doing all he can to be a leader of the people. At the age of 37, he's become one of the most celebrated and popular leaders on the continent of Africa. What you're looking at here is a minibus in Kenya that has Ibrahim Traoré's image on the side. And I've seen a few stories now about how Africa-wide bus drivers are starting to paint his picture on their buses. This should give you an idea of just how popular he is. So just to quickly catch up with the story, last week, General Michael Langley of the United States publicly said this.
I can imagine a situation, though, in which the ruling elite of a country is receiving gratuities on the side in order to the benefit of the strongman leader, and not to the populace of the country.
Absolutely, Chairman. I see this, and I don't mind calling them out, but Captain Traoré and Burkina Faso, as they know that both, whether it's their gold reserves, that is all those proceeds are just in exchange to protect the junta regime.
And what ensued was a social media backlash amongst many Africans and Pan-Africans and diaspora across the world. I myself made a video explaining why this is a huge inaccuracy. It's a huge hypocrisy. And I listed everything that Ibrahim Traoré has been spending the Burkina Faso coffers on, which essentially resulted in the Burkina Faso GDP increasing over the time he's been in power. But what I didn't know, which is the revelation I'm explaining today.
But you see, the Congressional Black Caucus is supposed to say, well, wait a minute, bro. They the ones with the, what the fuck is all these kente cloths they wearing? See, you see what they doing? Playing on African tribalism and pretending like they was some type of standing up for Africa and the African culture, the Democratic Party, empty gestures, and then targeted African leaders with assassinations, lying on them, slandering them. They easily could tell the truth about what all this man doing for his country. And then knowing by lying on him what the fuck the U.S. government is going to do. This shoe shine right here, he don't give a damn.
Is that since Ibrahim Traoré has been in power, Langley has been visiting all of the surrounding nations of the AES. What this means is that militarily, strategically, the United States have surrounded the AES countries. One by one, he has been going and even making alliances with countries that America has had negative ties with, always in the guise of strengthening ties and increasing security in the Sahel region. The Sahel region is populated by Niger, Mali, and Burkina Faso. Yes, it spreads beyond that, but if you're talking about the Sahel region, these are usually the main countries you're talking about. Since Ibrahim Traoré took over and kicked out the French, the British, and the Americans from the gold mining and other resource control that they had, Langley has not visited any of those countries. He comes out and says this public statement, which casts a light on his movements. So the countries surrounding the AES nations are Chad, Libya, Algeria, Mauritania, Senegal, the Gambia, Guinea-Bissau, Equatorial Guinea, Sierra Leone, Liberia, Ghana, Ivory Coast, Togo, Benin, and Nigeria. And he's visited almost all of them. Don't believe me? I've got some receipts. Chad, January 2024, US forces returned to Chad, but with a different objective. You can see down here, this is...
Now him going to Chad, cool, he went to Chad. That was old news. The Chadian government has now sided with the Burkina Faso, Mali, and Niger. They have kicked the French out, don't want the U.S. Having nothing to do there, and they have went and sat with Putin. So a lot of these places he finna name, like I think he's gonna say Libya, Russia is finna have a naval base there. So a lot of these things have changed. Yes, the U.S. went to go try to talk to these nations, but a lot of these nations have rejected the boule and have sided with Russia and these revolutionary nations.
September 2024, U.S. Africa Command confirmed that a small contingent of American personnel remain in Chad supporting counterterrorism missions. You got a picture right here of Langley in Chad with their military. Libya, August 2024. Top US general meets with alleged war criminal in Libya. So the leadership there has been described as a war criminal. So why suddenly does America need to go there? It says down here, US Marine Corps General Michael Langley called on Hifter, the leader of the Libyan National Army. During a series of meetings, Hifter expressed his desire to expand security engagement with the US. These are strategic moves. He met up with him here again in Benghazi, Algeria.
Well, Haftar just gave the Russians a naval base there, so he can do whatever he wants. They're not going to be able to. And Burkina Faso already blamed a lot of this on the overthrowing of Gaddafi, the killing of Gaddafi. So, nah, that's not really a sign of the U.S. strength going to Libya.
Algeria, AFCOM commander signs memorandum of understanding with Algerian Ministry of National Defense. Look, there's a picture of him here in Algeria. And we've got two further occasions. So 2023, 2024, and 2025. We've got Mauritania, USA AFCOM commander and senior enlisted leader traveled to Mauritania. U.S. Marine Corps General Michael Langley, commander, traveled to Mauritania to meet civilian and military leaders to discuss security and cooperation. Senegal, U.S. Marine Corporal General Michael Langley visits Senegal, Algeria, and Ghana, February.
Senegal has already rejected any of that nonsense. They siding with those revolutionary nations and want Russia to help build up their military. Ghana is the same.
2023. And here's a close-up of that picture. Nigeria. This is U.S. Marine Corps General Michael Langley, commander, enlisted leader.
Nigeria is the biggest problem. They actually tried to trick President Traor'e to come there. They was going to arrest him on behalf of France. That's a fact. They tried to double cross him. Can't trust Nigeria. Can't trust Kenya.
Leader visited Nigeria January 2024. Now, I can just go on down the list. Benin, Togo, Ghana, Ivory Coast, Liberia. The only places he hasn't visited are Guinea-Bissau, the Gambia, Equatorial Guinea, and Sierra Leone, which is actually a small landmass in terms of the border of the AES nations. The likelihood is that the US can do things like put drones in all of these countries that they visited. They can do surveillance. And if they wanted to do any interventions, they can do so. They can pick and choose militarily what actions they may or may support in the area. One of the potential destabilizing tactics that could be used is that the US creates this very tight border, making it very uncomfortable for the extremist jihadist groups. So then they're forced to reside within the borders of the AES. And that's where the majority of the havoc happens. And then they can point to the AES leaders like Ibrahim Traor'e and say, this guy doesn't have control of his country. Terrorism has increased since these guys have been put in charge. Means that there's more destabilization, more opportunities to try and turn and twist the sentiment against these leaders, particularly when terrorist attacks happen. When I first heard Langley on that Senate meeting talking about Burkina Faso, I was thinking it's something that they're going to do moving forward, like there's going to be actions happening moving forward. It turns out that they've been very active on ground already for the past 2 years, which is very worrying. You can't underestimate the military and the mind of the United States. They are very smart. They're very good at what they do. We as Africans would just like to see them not involved in any meddling. But we as Africans, I think, all know that America is only interested in relationships with Africa based on their own interests.
Are there success stories for the citizens of African countries when these larger, more prosperous nations or companies from more prosperous areas come in and exploit these minerals? What I'm asking is that does it ever redound to the benefit of the citizens there in Africa?
It is never based on helping the people on ground, no matter what they tell us, no matter how concerned they seem to appear about the everyday African on ground. Right now, there's growing concern for the safety of Ibrahim Traor'e, and I, for one, will be personally devastated if anything happens to this guy. Just in case you think it is without foundation, that some of us think that it is a possibility that Ibrahim Traor'e could be assassinated. There's already been 18 attempts on his life, including an attempt that happened just last week. And unfortunately, there is precedent set for the United States to be involved directly or indirectly in African leader assassinations. We only have to look at the three following examples of Thomas Sankara, who the US never publicly acknowledged involvement in the assassination, but there is plenty of evidence suggesting indirect complicity. Then you've got Kwame Nkrumah. Declassified documents and historical accounts confirm CIA involvement. And then you've got Patrice Lumumba, who it is now confirmed through declassified documents that Eisenhower authorized his assassination. This is a tweet from Wodamaya, who said, in Burkina Faso, civilians sleep at every roundabout at night just to protect their president. Will you ever do that for your president? If you don't know, Wodamaya is probably the biggest YouTuber in Africa, and he is currently spreading the word about the AES nations.
I just want to educate you all. This is the AES passport. I mean, the baby that came out of ECOWAS. So this is for 3 countries, Niger, Burkina Faso, and Mali. I want to introduce you all to the Honorable Minister of Foreign Affairs. Your Excellency, it's a pleasure meeting you. Nice to meet you. Yeah, I'm the first Ghanaian to get this passport. But I want to say thank you so much. Yeah, appreciate it.
And this is something that certain groups are actually terrified of. The youth of Africa are showing overwhelming support for the AES. For example, right now in Nigeria, there's a lot going on social media about how disgruntled the youths are, about cost of living crisis, the expense of food. The only place that they seem to be talking about hope from is outside of their nation regarding AES and Burkina Faso. This should be troubling for a country like Nigeria, who are the main power in the region and have met with Langley and openly condemned the AES when they broke off from ECOWAS and formed their own alliance. You have to wonder, whoever comes after Tinubu is likely going to have to say they come out in support of Ibrahim Traor'e and the AES leaders. This allows an opportunity for a leader to shift the dynamics of power in that region. Ghana has already shown many steps around how they're supporting the AES countries. And who knows if this could be the tide that starts to really shift things in the area. And what we hope is that America can just keep their noses out of this business and allow Africa to forge its own future based off its own decisions, allowing its people to support the leaders by which they see fit without outside interference. However, with this circumnavigation pincer move that we're seeing America has done in the last 2 years, and the absolute wealth of abundant resources in the AES countries, the likelihood that they will not get involved is looking very low. Now, I'm sure you have much to say about this situation. Please leave any comments in the comments section. But if you have no
tell me that talk about GSYM. Wake up when you want Africa. When you Bob Marley say Africans unite, I see the whole of Africa out for unite. When you are going to Burkina Faso with the president Ibrahim Traor'e, and when the artists from Jamaica, remember say we sing and free Nelson Mandela, you know. So how come nobody has sing no song? I mean alone have a song I release this Friday, titled Ibrahim. We not try to demand to feed people within 2 years. Free hospital, free education, mobile hospital. You know see it. The man manufacture electric car. The man employ 8,000 people in 1 day. The man say having a place to live is human rights. So all citizens we get free house. The man not take no presidential pay. The man work with his salary when he used to get in the army. He was an army officer. And the man say no love one country around. And just farm a coup September 2022 and take over Burkina Faso. Once what the man do. Now they might try to take him out. People, this Friday, we have a song I released like Ibrahim. Glory, glory, Ibrahim Traor'e. This is an African story. We can't ignore it. Ibrahim Traor'e, slowly but surely, in the interest of your country, you step up to the plate and control it. Africa, myself, you wake up. Africans, keep your head up. East, west, north, and south, wake up. Wake up, wake up. Remember, this Friday, you get all online store, Michaelos. And check out the audio on YouTube. Check it out. Jamaica. Wake up!
As a Jamaican, I stand African. We stand with the leader of Burkina Faso, President Ibrahim Traor'e. We know a lot of great men and women have fought for our liberty over centuries. Today, this man, youngest African president, is doing it, and we ought to be aware, we ought to stand up Burkina, Jamaica, one love.
What's up, guys? Welcome back to my YouTube channel once again. My name is Dash Lifestyle. Kindly for watching me for the first time, remember to subscribe, like, share, and also comment. So, guys, Jamaican superstar Usain Bolt, he has come out and sent a message to Ibrahim Traor'e. I want us to watch and to listen Usain Bolt message, and majority of Jamaicans also, they have come out and they have sent a message to Ibrahim Traor'e and the Western countries. So kindly, guys, let's watch these videos from Jamaica and Usain Bolt message. Then I'll be back with more comment.
So Usain Bolt has actually written a letter to Captain Ibrahim Traoré. I'm going to read this letter to you guys. Before I proceed, please double tap on your screen because it helps the video. And let me know where you are actually watching this from in the comment section. So it reads, the address is to His Excellency Captain Ibrahim Traoré, President of the Transition, Ouagadougou, Burkina Faso. And it reads, Dear President Traoré, I extend to you my warmest greetings from Jamaica. As someone who has spent a lifetime striving for excellence and unity through sport, I admire leaders who seek to uplift their people and inspire a vision for a stronger future. I have followed the development in your country with interest, and I commend your efforts to foster sovereignty, stability, and resilience in the face of challenge. Sport has always been a powerful force for the unity and pride, especially among youth. I believe it can play a key role in the development of Burkina Faso, whether on the track, in the classroom, or through community programs. Empowering young people with opportunities can shape a brighter tomorrow.
Beautiful.
If ever an opportunity for collaboration, support, or inspiration through sport, I would be honored to contribute in any way I can. Wishing you strength, wisdom, peace, and your leadership journey. In your leadership journey, respectfully, Usain Bolt, Olympic champion and world record holder.
Look at that, powerful. See, we gotta support this brother Usain Bolt. We gotta support him now. We gotta support him after. Yeah, I'm at the ordinary Usain Bolt jersey now and put it up. It's revolutionary now. Any Shushan, we won't hear this from LeBron James, none of them house niggas. They ain't allowed to stand up, and if they do, shame on me. I'm gonna have to apologize to them. But they supposed to been getting with their brother, asking what can they do to help them. Real Black liberation. See that when the leaders die, and then the Democrats tell them they can say something good about them, like they do Malcolm. Pretend like they love Malcolm. Pretend like they love Fred Hampton and Huey P. No, they did not.
What do we say to Usain Bolt in Jamaica? Thank you. We know our brothers and sisters in Jamaica, Caribbean, has always been support of our movement. So thank you, Usain Bolt. Thank you, Jamaica. Thank you, Caribbean. And this is a way to actually help. Some of you want to join the military, but I'll bring the updates on how to join the military later, on the next video. So if you haven't followed this yet, just make sure you follow the account, favorite it, retweet, do whatever you want to do with this video, and meet me in the next video to give you updates on how to actually join the military. Big ups to you, Jamaica. Big ups to you, Caribbean. So anyone who wants to reach Captain Ibrahim Traoré, please just do so. And we are going to read your letter to fellow Africans so that they will see the support you actually have for Ibrahim Traoré. Still, the hashtag is Leave Burkina Faso Alone. Hashtag Leave Ibrahim Traoré Alone. Go ahead and appreciate this video and send it across. Thank you. We are live right now. Join us and come and give you
African youth to win. Diaspora and Caribbeans, Jamaica, Guyana, Trinidad, Bermuda, Antigua, all the Caribbeans around the world, Black Americans around the world, to win. The time is now to save Captain Ibrahim Traoré. The Western America never want the goodness of Africa. They only try to assassinate our good leaders. We are not giving them Captain Ibrahim Traoré today. We are not giving them tomorrow. Let me start and tell you something. You remember on the 17th of January 1961, the assassination of Patrice Lumumba of DR Congo. And to date, there is no peace in Congo. Remember Osati for Dr. Kwame Nkrumah, Republic of Ghana, on the 24th of February 1966, when Kwame Nkrumah was on his way to Vietnam for peace talk, they overthrown Kwame Nkrumah from the Republic of Ghana. We have never get a good leader like this man ever again in Africa. You remember a leader called Thomas Sankara, Burkina Faso, on the 15th of October 1987. They have assassinated a young man at the age of 37 years. They have assassinated a man. Captain Ibrahim Traor'e has replaced him. They want to overtake him. We are not allowing that. You remember Muammar Gaddafi, a very good and a vibrant and energetic leader in the land of Africa. Gaddafi was a very good leader to African and African diaspora and the Caribbean at large. On the 20th of October, on the day of Islamic celebration in the whole world, that was the day America and NATO assassinate Muammar Gaddafi from the land of Africa. They are going back to Captain Ibrahim Traor'e. African youth, wake up. Diaspora, wake up. We are not allowing them from the west, from the east, from the north, from the south. Africa, we must unite to save Captain Ibrahim Traor'e. The time is now.
Down here for Ibrahim Traor'e. Wagwan, my general. Every black man on this earth at the moment, I support what you do. Because here we are now. A long time, them no want to see Africa stand and unite. See? Them won't go on to divide Africans, come thief we mineral, come divide we and fight, make we fight against each other. See? So the thing you do right now, the general, every African pan earth I support you, see? So here we are now. When you liberate Africa and make Africa for Africans, Gaddafi did say that. I will see only part time what them do for African leader will come up, stand and try unite Africans. You see what Gaddafi do? And that you do, my general. See? We see what them do to Zimbabwe president. We see what them do to Amin Dada. We see only part time. See? So when you liberate Africa, you become the first African president. Every black man on this earth should have a citizenship to Africa. Them should have come in and come out, buy property, buy land, build house, married, settle down. God, them are African. Right now, Jamaicans, them happy to see Africa a liberate. Seeing? Cause for them profit, me not call them musician enough. For them profit, see this long time. One Jamaica tell me said the last will become the first. That are the prophecy. Seeing? So Ibrahim Traor'e, big up yourself, the general. Right now, Africa feel the spirit of unification, uniting, loving and building one Africa. Seeing me, general?
President of Burkina Faso have the most loyal soldiers them round him. Them not turn them back against a man there in a no time, no fashion, and them not make nobody make them feel frightened, feel a little bit of money. Them the squad they so loyal to him that in a the last unaliving attempt, my love, them actually take the millions of dollars. Me don't know who pay them. But in the last unaliving attempt of the president of Burkina Faso, me hear say the soldiers them take the millions of dollars, carrot go give Ibrahim Traor'e, show them the plans of the person where did want to hire them, and now then take the money and go invest it back in the country. Yeah, man, it's a great deal. One push through. Me not gonna tell you no to stop. Want them kind of loyalty.
If anything happened to Ibrahim Traor'e, the president of Burkina Faso, then the rest of the world will know that Africans are not cowards. Listen and listen carefully. I don't know who you are, I don't know where you are. In the days of ignorance, our leaders, our great mind were taken advantage of. But we are no longer in that generation. This is another generation. And the level we are ready to go to save Africa, to build Africa, to support Africa, to give our best to Africa, no one can imagine it. For some of us, we have been waiting, we have been preparing, we have been getting ready mentally, emotionally, skill-wise for this generation, for this time to come. Nobody should allow anybody from anywhere to manipulate our system, our people anymore. If it means educating our people, we will continue to educate our people. What is this thing all about, the resources of Africa? Why are they so interested in the gold in Burkina Faso? Why are they so interested in how Ibrahim Traor'e goes about fixing his country? All this propaganda and all kinds of stuff that is coming out just to make sure to mess this young man up is not going to be tolerated. It's not going to be tolerated. Every African, every black person on the face of the earth, this is the time to rise and give your support to Burkina Faso and the rest of Africa. You shouldn't be sleeping. The past leaders, they have disappointed us. And we cannot afford to disappoint the next generation. We've got the mind. We can think. We have the understanding. We've got the power. We've got the population. We've got the resources. We don't need nobody. We don't need to borrow money from anywhere in the world. We don't need anybody to loan us anything. We can make use of what we have to build Africa, to build our nation, to build our continent. The world does not understand this new breed, this new generation of Africans. Wherever we are in the world, we believe that we've got what it takes to do what we need to do to build Africa. And that is exactly what Ibrahim Traor'e is doing in Burkina Faso, is setting an example. And we are all watching. We are paying attention. We are following. I've never been this broken in my entire life when I see the attempt on his life, because he says, go to your country, go build your country. If you have your resources, go use your resources. If you want to take care of your people, you go take care of your people, friends. You don't need to be in Africa. We don't need you. Emmanuel Macron or whatever you call, we don't need you in Africa. We need ourselves. We have our own way of doing whatever we want to do. Don't even think of influencing America and any other person that want to join force with you to touch that young man. You're gonna feel it. I'm telling you, you're gonna feel it. Your people will feel it. Your nation will feel it. We better be careful, because we are in a new generation. We are in a new generation. We are in a new generation. Ibrahim Traor'e, we see what you're doing. We see the work you're doing. We see how you're mobilizing the nation. We see how you're affecting life. We see the impact you are making. Every single one of us from anywhere in Africa, we are making effort. We are putting our best foot forward to make sure that this generation does not disappoint the next generation. And we are going to build a legacy. We're going to do something in this generation that has never been done before. And we're not afraid of anything. We're not afraid of anything at all. We're going to build our communities. We're going to build our local government. We're going to build our state. We're going to build our nation. All these old guys that are just making noise up and down, going, begging for people, we're just watching them. A time is going to come out. Their cup is running out. Their cup is running out. If you are for Africa, this is the time to speak up. If you are for Africa, this is the time to speak up. Words enough for the wise.
Why do you want to kill our president? Ibrahim Traoré is our president. Anytime that a good president wants to pop on in Africa, the Westerners always want to kill him. Just look at what happened to Gaddafi, Patrice Lumumba, Thomas Sankara, Kwame Nkrumah, and now it is Ibrahim Traoré. No. Enough is enough. I don't know why the French people are protesting that Ibrahim Traoré has to resign or he must be arrested, according to Donald Trump, because he is not using the gold in Burkina Faso for the people. Yet the people are not complaining. How can you be complaining? How can you be crying more than the bereaved? No. What we need to do as African youth, we have to support Ibrahim Traoré. We don't have to be like our forefathers who committed the error of not uniting when Kwame Nkrumah wanted to create the United States of Africa. Just look at America. America was made up of 50 different states. They decided to unite together and form the United States of America. And that is one of the reasons that America is very strong. Come to think of it, do you know how strong Africa is going to be if we come together? It is a step-by-step process, and we have to begin it now. Let us make the Westerners know that the youth of Africa have become wise. Our eyes are open, and we are not greedy as our forefathers who wanted power for themselves. We want somebody who is going to lead us Africans, and we, the youth of Africa, we are behind him. Even if we don't have financial capacity to support him, we can support him morally. Share this video, let it go viral, and let Ibrahim Traoré know that he is doing the correct thing, and we African youths are behind him. Let the West now also see that our eyes are open and that we are not as dull and as greedy as our forefathers who did not want Africa to unite. We are supporting any good leader that pops on in Africa, even if it's not from our country. So write in the comment section where you are supporting Ibrahim Traoré from. For instance, I am from Cameroon, so I'll be writing supporting Ibrahim Traoré from Cameroon. You can write in French, soutien pour Ibrahim Traoré depuis le Tchad, depuis le Gabon, depuis le Congo, depuis le Senegal. Let us support this man because he is doing something that is going to benefit us. We are in our 20s. In our 30s, it is going to benefit us directly. Even if we were in our 60s, in our 70s, we are still going to support him so that our children are going to benefit from it. What America is benefiting now is because of what their forefathers did. So we should not commit the same error of our forefathers who were greedy. I repeat, who were greedy. Let us support him. Nobody is touching him. He is our president, and we are behind you, Ibrahim Traoré. Every time Africa wants to grow, it's like France, people are not happy for Africa to grow. You don't want Africa to have something good. All the Westerners. No.
Very, very brief. It's about Ibrahim Traoré, the Burkina Faso president. I have to say I was very, very disappointed. Very, very disappointed to hear that Burkina Faso citizens abroad were protesting against his government. How can you protest against someone who is effectively changing geopolitics in Africa? How can you effectively say that you are protesting against Ibrahim Traoré? What has urged me to respond on this platform is because someone wrote to me through my people asking me to address the Ibrahim Traoré situation. It is clear to me that there is an issue with his leadership. And when I say an issue, not necessarily an issue, but people are worried and concerned about how he is conducting and making sure that he effectively caters for Burkina Faso citizens. I don't see anything wrong with that. I don't seem to understand why Burkina Faso citizens abroad were protesting if it wasn't because you have been paid to protest. He, in my view, from what we can gather, has had 18 assassination attempts. That is a world record. 18 assassination attempts. And I'm talking about fake assassinations. 18 assassination attempts. That is worrying. I'm calling on all African leaders to do what we can to protect Ibrahim Traoré. I know that not all African leaders support the way he has taken over power, but it is clear to me, and it is clear to those who want to get rid of him, and those protesting, and those who support him, that he is very, very effective as a leader. And I am supporting Ibrahim Traoré all the way. All the way. I would not repeat this. Ibrahim Traoré has all my support. And to all Burkina Faso citizens, both abroad and in your country, make sure you fall behind your leader. What we are experiencing in Africa is great. He's changing geopolitics for the better. And for those who are planning assassination attempts and assassination coups, it will not work. It will not work. Africa must protect Ibrahim Traoré.
Malcolm X was stating the facts when he said they will hire one of us to kill one of us just to say one of us did it. Don't let that go over your head.
Do you know how much dignity it takes to say no to the IMF when they come at you and say, we'll give you billions and billions of dollars? And you say, no, thank you very much. I don't want it. I care more about my people.
Yeah.
Most puppets in position, especially in these African countries, are out here for the money. Now here comes this supposed chosen one, the Messiah of Africa, the hope of Africa, Ibrahim Traoré, saying no to money. All these puppets are saying to themselves, what the hell is this? This is, to some extent, some of these puppets think that Ibrahim Traoré is being disrespectful by rejecting these loans.
Yeah. I saw something like that. Stubborn. I believe I saw that word, stubborn for rejecting the IMF loan.
And there's some puppets around here that will say, you don't care about your people that much. Because if you did, you take that money, you take that opportunity, those means, and try to go and build some things in your country.
These citizens are applauding him even more and supporting him even more for saying no to that.
You see this man here? He needs super armed security. In fact, the entire world needs to do a chained prayer for this man. Just within 2 years, do you know what Ibrahim Traoré has actually done? First of all, he just made education free for everybody in Burkina Faso, which is crazy. He also launched an emergency ambulance service, and I've never heard of this in any African country. The service aims to provide 24-hour emergency healthcare to all citizens, regardless of financial status. And under his leadership, like I said, this is just within 2 years. Burkina Faso's GDP, which is the gross domestic product, which is used to measure how well a country is doing economically, grew from approximately 18.8 billion to 22.1 billion. He also reduced the salaries of ministers and parliamentarians by 30% and increased the salaries of civil servants by 50%. He paid off Burkina Faso's local debts. He established 2 tomato processing plants. He put a stop to the export of unrefined gold from Burkina Faso to Europe. And to my understanding, he's actually trying to build a gold refinery in Burkina Faso. He banned French military operations in Burkina Faso. He banned French media in Burkina Faso, and he expelled French troops from Burkina Faso. Now, why the French are angry about this is because usually Francophone countries depend on France to some capacity. And if other countries, Francophone countries within Africa, start getting self-sufficiency, they won't need France, leaving France's role redundant. And ultimately, France will become a third world country. Without Africa, France is a third world country. Remember that.
So guys, I hope you have watched and listened to that message from Usain Bolt, and majority of Jamaicans and the Black Americans, they have come out and they are supporting Ibrahim Traoré. What I can tell you that right now is Ibrahim Traoré, he has become a symbol of unity towards Black people. The only leader that he has managed to unite all Black people, the Black Americans, they have come out and they are defending Ibrahim Traoré. The Black people in the Caribbean, Jamaicans and Bahamas, Haitian people, they have come out also. They are defending Ibrahim Traoré. They have joined Ibrahim Traoré army. And also we have seen African, for the first time, African people, they have come out and they are really supporting Ibrahim Traoré. So seeing all these unity that Black people, they are having towards Ibrahim Traoré, to me, it seems like the revolution of the Black people, it has really it is really happening, it is really coming, because for a very long time, as Black people, we have been wanting a leader who is standing and defending the rights of the Black people. For a very long time, we Black people, the only thing that we have been lacking, it is unity. Seeing Ibrahim Traor'e coming out and uniting all Black people, it is something that, guys, I've never even imagined. So Jamaicans, they have come out and they are really supporting Ibrahim Traor'e. They are sending a clear warning to the United States, telling the United States it is now time for you, United States, to leave African country to be independent. So you guys, you have been plundering, you have been destabilizing Africa, you have been taking resources from Africa. So right now, enough, it is enough. You need to leave Africa alone. For a very long time that we have been seeing that whenever our African leader, he is standing up to the rights of to defend his people, the Western people, they have been taking that leader down. But right now, the Western people, they are really shocked to see Black people, they have united and they are defending Ibrahim Traor'e, the youngest African president. So this is a clear message to the Western country. Don't even try to assassinate or to try to bring down Ibrahim Traor'e, because right now all Black people, wherever they are watching. And the Western people, they need to know that we Black people, we are the majority in this world. Yeah, we Black people, we are the majority. You can see the population of the Black people, it is really growing each and every day, while their population, it is decreasing. So these people, they need to stop and they need to start to respect Black people, because we are the majority in this world. And also, you have heard from our people, even the Black Americans, they have come out and defend Ibrahim Traor'e. All countries in the Caribbean, they have come out and defend Ibrahim Traor'e. African, they have come out and they're defending Ibrahim Traor'e. In fact, Africans, they have made Ibrahim Traor'e the African president. So for you guys, if you want to take anything from Africa, the Western countries, you need right now to ask permission from Ibrahim Traor'e, and don't ever try to take Ibrahim Traor'e down, because you will not. You will clearly see the true color of the Black people. Right now, we are uniting. Right now, we are supporting Ibrahim Traor'e. And guys, I want to tell you that on 30th, today it is on 29. Let me just confirm on my. Yeah, today it is on 29th. So tomorrow on 30th April, we are marching on the street. The Jamaicans, Bahamas, Haitian, Guyana, every country in the Caribbean, we are marching out to support Ibrahim Traor'e. The Black Americans, they are coming out to march on 30th to show the support from Ibrahim Traor'e. And also, African country, all African country, we have agreed and we are marching to protest the Western, telling the Western not to touch Ibrahim Traor'e. So we are protesting. We are marching on the street to show solidarity and support towards our youngest African leader, that it is Ibrahim Traor'e. And when we Black people will be coming out and showing this support towards Ibrahim Traor'e, we will be sending a clear message to the Western country, to the United States, to the France, to this country which they are not happy with Ibrahim Traor'e. We are telling them that we are behind Ibrahim Traor'e. All Black people, we have joined Ibrahim Traor'e army. So you guys don't dare try to assassinate or remove Ibrahim Traor'e out of power. So if you try to do that, you will see the true colors of the Black people. So this is a warning message to the Western country. You know what happened. You know what happened to Gaddafi. You have been taking our leaders down. You have been taking our brave leaders. But right now, we Black people, we have seen what you guys have been doing to our brave leaders. So we cannot afford to see this is happening to Ibrahim Traor'e. That Ibrahim Traor'e is a really God-sent leader. He's not a politician. This one, he's an army, he's a captain, and he is a true leader. So that one you need to know. You guys who have been turning the politician to be puppet, but you have tried so hard to turn Ibrahim Traor'e to become a puppet, but Ibrahim Traor'e, he has turned that all things that we have been offering to him are down. So these are kind of leaders that we African countries we want. So don't ever try to bring down Ibrahim Traoré. So I'm so happy to see all support from Caribbean, from Black Americans, us Black people. We are really, really uniting, and the message here, it is unite. Ibrahim Traoré has been telling us that we need to end imperialism, and also, first of all, we need to unite as the Black people. There is a power in unity. If people they are uniting, they can do so many things. So these people, first of all, the Western people, what they have been trying to do, it is to make us Black people not to unite, because they've been using some of our countries to fight each other. This is what these people they want. They've been funding some of the gangs in some of the various countries to fight each other. You have seen what happened. The Ivory Coast president, he was been using with the Western countries to try to bring down Ibrahim Traoré, but that one we have really we know that, and we have sent also a warning message to the Ivory Coast president. If he tried to send his soldier to bring down Ibrahim Traoré, we will be going to Ivory Coast, and we will be dealing with that president. So kindly, guys, thank you so much for watching. Subscribe if you haven't.
Kofi, follow me.